The following program is a collection of stooges talking about happenings in the sports world. It is meant to be comedic informative. The opinions expressed on this show do not necessarily reflect the beliefs of their peers, their boss, or ESPN. There may be some cuss words because that's how humans in the real world talk. If you are young, please seek permission before watching any further.
Hey,
Dwayne,
let's go!
this show stinks, and the fact that you listen, we are very, very thankful for.
McAfee on the line with a gorgeous assist.
The all-time leading tackler for the Green Bay Packers.
You pink!
Damn it! Your friend tell a friend something nice could change their life.
Welcome to the Thunderdome. I am not Pat McAfee, but do not adjust your sets. This is actually real, and it is actually happening. Crushed it. I told Pat before the show that I would nail it, and I did.
Yep.
I am Ian Rappaport, also known as Rap Sheet, and I am hosting the Pat McAfee Show today in place of Pat. We don't know where Pat is. He is in another country.
Whoa.
Parts unknown is how it was described to me.
Okay.
But I am told he is joining us right there.
I'm splitting the screen with you.
Yeah.
I'm splitting the screen with you, Rap.
I'm just saying, I don't know where you are right now. It could be anywhere. Hi, Pat.
I'm in Glasgow, Scotland. Look to your right. It's right above my picture on the big screen. Yeah, it says in Glasgow. Dirty probably pieced that together. Hey, hey, great work back there, boys. Great work back there, boys.
How you doing?
I'll tell you what, Rap. I've never been in Scotland. This is my first time over here. And obviously we have Monday Night Raw here tonight on Netflix. I believe it kicks off 4 p.m. Eastern, 8 o'clock local, only a 4-hour time zone difference as opposed to, some places in Europe that are like 5-6 hours. And I'll tell you what, Glasgow is lovely. I've been waltzing around this town all morning, kind of getting a lay of the land, seeing some things. Had a nice breakfast at Cafe Sono. My guy Fahey from Turkey. This spot was unbelievable. And Fahey didn't speak a lot of English, and I don't think he understood everything I was saying. But I pointed at Scottish breakfast, and he knew exactly what I wanted. Even gave me some extra fried eggs. So shout out to Fahey and his mom, a wonderful Turkish duo that run Cafe Sono underneath the train station here in Glasgow. That's him cooking right there for me this morning as soon as I got into town. Then I waltzed around, got a chance to get my hair did. I got my hair cut by a guy named Tyler, who was Syrian. Okay, he was Syrian, but he learned how to cut hair in Kuwait from his father when he was 13, and I got the fade in Scotland. So I don't know if this is a Syrian fade, a Kuwaiti fade, or a Scottish fade. Nonetheless, this guy was an artist. We're talking about a magician with the scissors, and his guy Steve in the shop was also fantastic as well. I walked around, maybe met some kilt makers, maybe, kings of kilts. Shook some hands, got a chance to meet the Scottish folks, and the sun was shining over here in Glasgow because it's a wonderful day. Rappaport, thank you so much for traveling to Indianapolis. Obviously, it's great to see you back there with the lads. And what a perfect day for you to be here. Obviously not because the NFL is the topic of conversation, even though we'll have Daniel Jeremiah in the next hour, but because sports are popping off in a big way, especially for degenerate booze bags like you.
Yeah.
March Madness, more like March Sadness, Rap. Am I right? Boys, Toxic Table, at Boston Connor, at Ty Schmidt. One half of the Hammer, Dahn.
Nailed that
Cowboys AP Tone, and 9-year NFL vet Darius J. Butler.
Good to see you,
let's start with the Toxic Table. Con Man, I know you bet every single underdog. Sorry about it, bud. It's been a rough couple days for you. What is your takeaway? What is your thoughts on the weekend that was in college hoops?
Yeah, it was a fantastic weekend. Overall, 13-44 were the underdog money line bets. So, you could say we didn't do too well, but we actually kicked it off in a fantastic fashion at, Pins Mechanical Company on Thursday. Got properly boozed up. A crack was had, if you will. But, as much as it stinks with the no Cinderellas, and I know the conversation this morning has been, Cinderella's dead. NIL is going to kill Cinderella forever. I don't know about that. I more so think, looking ahead is where the, madness is really going to be had, where these 1-4 matchups, some of the, 3 versus 2 matchups are going to be incredible. Arkansas is kind of the only double-digit seed that has made it, and even there with Calipari, with them being one of the 7 SEC teams in the Sweet 16, it does feel as though it's going to be a great close to the tournament. But yeah, it's sad. Everyone likes to see an underdog. Everyone likes to see a Cinderella. And personally, I want to see some buzzer beaters. And immediately, as soon as we do finally get a buzzer beater, everyone starts bitching about a travel. Traveling is real.
Nah.
Traveling's not real.
Hold on. And listen, first of all, I think if you were to slow that down, D-Butch, I think he takes a dribble. This dude's 6'10".
Yeah.
Obviously, he's a freshman from Baltimore, which we learned. But the story behind this dude being asked during the timeout right before this, who wants the ball? And he says, give me the motherfucking ball. I mean, what an answer, D. But I'm a Maryland Terrapin fan going forward now that the Johnnies are out strictly because of this dude.
I don't know if I'm a Terp fan with you, but I love that type of moxie. I love that type of juice in the huddle and then backing it up and actually getting the bucket. I believe Gene's territory gave the explanation after the play as to why it wasn't a travel. I think they call it a gather step. We know traveling isn't real on the big-time basketball level, but that's an unbelievable play. A great shot going to his left, fading away, getting that touch off the glass. Was a beautiful buzzer beater to a great game. Now, my Huskies, they got knocked off yesterday. Great battle with the Florida Gators.
Took it well. Took it real well.
Dan Hurley, of course, he took it like a champion should. I like my losers to be sore losers. So you got to take the good and the bad.
Stand up for that dude? I mean,
why wouldn't I?
I'm just saying.
The back-to-back national champ.
No, he's a great coach. I'm just saying. Minutes seconds after, he knows cameras are in the tunnel, right?
Of course.
And this is what I mean. It's the refs. It's
what, Rap? Hey, Rap, listen, Rap, you and your journalist committee have decided that this isn't how a guy's supposed to act. This is not how a coach is supposed to act. How about Dan Hurley gets to decide how Dan Hurley acts? Guy wins back-to-back national championships. The boys absolutely love him. But I understand you journalists don't like the super competitive coach. Let's go to the Super Bowl real quick. Nick Sirianni, you and your journalist friends got a lot to say about how he operates, but the boys love him. I appreciate that Dan Hurley's always Dan Hurley. Rap, did you hear what he said though afterwards? Whenever he was when he talked about where he is now versus where he has been the last couple of years and talking about the scrutiny and everything. And he said he's going to readjust, refresh, reset this offseason, get back to coaching. I think there is a chance we see a different Dan Hurley going forward, but I don't think it's a bad thing that he acts differently than everybody else because he always does it. He's always a psychopath, Rap. And the boys know it, and the boys love it.
So the Sirianni sort of corollary is a good one, I think, because look, is it in the head coaching manual? Is there a page for trash talking your own fans? Probably not. Would be my guess.
Whoa! No, it was because the guy wanted him to run the ball.
No, I get it, but I'm saying they love him so much in the locker room that it's sort of that's the currency, right? Did I love to see Dan Hurley, as he's now become known, trash talking the refs after? Probably not, but that his guys are that's my guy, and I think that's that's the real stuff,
You're looking for Daniel Hurley. That's what you would like. Huh?
Yes.
None of this Dan. I'm looking for Daniel. Correct. Yeah.
I wonder if he had the dragon underwear on, Tone. Have we got to the bottom of that? Was he wearing the same skivvies as he was the last 2 years? Maybe that's part of the problem.
I'm not positive, but all I know is in the gambling world, Dan Hurley is the GOAT. Okay, he covered 14 straight tournament games. That run is still going. Now he won 13 straight until the close loss against the number 1 Florida Gators. But in the gambling world, you can always trust Dan Hurley, just like his boys can. And if he's firing, he goes, listen, basketball. That's how basketball coaches are. Yeah. I have never met a basketball coach in my entire life that isn't just an absolute psychopath. Our high school basketball coach off the court, great guy, nicest history teacher of all time. Shout out Ron Richards. On the basketball court in practice, absolute psychopath. That's just who basketball coaches are.
I love it.
They kind of have to be, I think, to kind of rally everybody. Because you need every single ounce of energy, every single possession, because you never know what's going to happen. And I will say that's another thing about these college hoops. I did forget about how chaotic some of these moments of basketball. Yep. I mean, we're talking air balls. We're talking throwing layups through the backboard. We're talking about passing it out of bounds, dribbling out of bounds. We're talking about some madness still happening on the court. But D-Butts, my question for you is, obviously we follow the NBA a little bit closer. Mm-hmm. And I don't want to give anything away. LeBron James is going to be on the show this week.
What?
What?
Today?
Just not. He said he didn't want to come on when your dumbass was on, Raph.
That's actually fair.
I don't.
LeBron James.
I don't like that. Yeah, LeBron James. Yeah, he's going to be on this week. Wow. And we follow the NBA. We don't follow college hoops as much. But obviously you do with the UConn Huskies, obviously being who they are. But I forgot about the style of basketball that college hoops is. It is vastly different. And I think that is something that I enjoy every single March Madness. And I'll tell you what, if you get cold, you can lose quick. That St. John's team, and obviously Patino, dog. And he was surrounded by a lot of people that were all in, whenever he went and saw his kid coach. But whenever you talk about what Calipari's been able to do with his Arkansas team, and then St. John's getting ice cold, it's like whoever gets hot at the right time wins this whole damn thing, D-Butch. And I think that's what's special about this March Madness every single year.
That's why we love it. That's why we all become college basketball experts around this time of year. Always in a kind of a neutral site, so nobody really has the full, real home court advantage. So I love that part of it. And like Connor was talking about earlier, usually there is an underdog story. There is a Cinderella story, a player or a team or a coach that just kind of takes, the college basketball world, the sports world by storm. Right now, we got all the top seeds still remaining on each, all four. I'm excited to see how it ends up. Cooper Flagg, him being we all assume he'll leave and become the number one pick. They've been dominant. Florida's been dominant. Auburn, everybody's doing their thing, man. So I'm excited how this is kind of when I was telling Connor before the show, Sweet 16 outside of my team, outside of UConn, this is when I really dial in. This is really when the games, everybody's watching the games, everybody's excited. But it is a completely different sport than the NBA game. The NBA game is different. This one is much slower, half court, who can get stops, who can have the ball in their hands and get a finish, make a big play down the stretch. So I'm excited about how this thing's going to finish out.
It feels like every team has a dog, has a guy, and
gotta have it.
There's a lot. They got a guy, and this guy right here. I mean, Duke. And listen, we didn't. I thought McWhite guy up at UConn was potentially going to be the exciting white of college basketball. Okay, I did think that was going to be the case. I didn't pay close enough attention to Cooper Flagg. What a fun! I mean, he whatever. He's supposed to be a senior, I think. He's
reclassed.
In high school. He's supposed to be a senior in high school, this guy. And obviously what he's able to do, and his dad's a basketball player, and the high school basketball story they told during the kickoff show, and I got a chance to learn about it. I mean, he is special. And this Duke team, I mean, they don't look like every Duke team I've seen in the past. Feels like Shire's team, a little bit different than Coach K's team. Might I say, likable. I almost kind of like them. And I know that's not an easy thing for Duke. So congrats to them being as dominant as they have been. And how about January, February, in Izzo in Sweet 16 again? Way to go. Way to go, Foxy. Go green, buddy.
Go white. Hell yeah. They didn't even play their best ball, especially last night. Best player on the team, Jace Richardson. He didn't score until about 3 minutes left in the game. Only had 6 points total in the game, and they still were able to pull it off. That's how this team has been all season long. They got 9 guys that all can play, that all can score. It's been awesome. I'm very, very happy for them to be in the Sweet 16.
Oh, look, he's all choked up about it. Jesus Christ.
I'm fired up.
It's been a while.
Patrick,
so go ahead.
I would say, did you notice he talked about, Jace only scoring 6 points, and what was the first thing that we saw Thursday when we were watching those games together? The ball looks a little overinflated, doesn't it?
Yeah, Connor was yelling about it because we bet all the overs, because we want points, Rap. Yeah. You know what I mean, Rap? Let's celebrate both teams. Let's have fun. By the way, shout out to Pins Mechanical. I think Mechanical Pins, that place was
awesome.
That's where you guys were hanging Thursday?
Yeah.
Dude, Rap.
Good. I saw the Instagram. I follow you on Instagram. Look good.
Oh, it's very kind of you. Thanks for following along. We had a good time out there. Some would say talk was a little bit too high. We don't know where he got those because it's not necessarily legal in Indiana. He found some CBD that really took his ass to the moon. But we wanted to have a good time, and we wanted to just see points. And then everything was, and then it was out. Tone, I see some people been talking about this for years, about the NCAA maybe spiking these balls to make it a double rim effect everywhere.
Yeah, there was a player who came out a few players who came out this year who said, they have to adjust their shot potentially because of the overinflation of the ball, and then Dalton Connect was talking about it.
This is real.
Oh yeah.
Is this on the dark web? I have not gotten.
No, it's on just the normal web.
Really?
Yeah, X.com or whatever it is.
I know that.
Rep, this is called research, Rep.
What
This
do you
called
think I've been
research,
doing?
buddy.
I've been researching for this moment right
He
here
was
the last
boozed up
5
all
days.
weekend. He admitted to us earlier he
did
was very
say that.
boozed up all weekend. So
Well,
March Madness. How could he not be? That's March Madness weekend.
So I stayed home. I sat in front of my TV to research this for this. Well, I wasn't home. I was at a different someone else's home
Very nice.
in Montana. But I watched when I took a break from skiing. I watched
Those
the tournament.
homes.
Yeah.
When I took a break from skiing and counting money, then I would watch these basketball games take place. And I appreciate you doing that for the good of the program. For the good of the program.
Yeah, I do it for you guys. And I am I'm well researched. I know all the players on some of the teams. I watched last night.
Who's Maryland? Hey, who hit the game winner for Maryland?
Derek Queen.
Oh, wow. Good pull.
And I mean, can I just? That's like 4 steps.
Oh,
four of your steps, maybe.
1, 2.
Not entirely wrong. I mean, look. Here's what I understand. If this happened in
maybe
football,
6.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I mean, yeah, it's a little. Yes. Especially if I get real excited.
Guy
then it's a little
6'10". Yeah, guy 6'10". Yeah.
Right, which I'm a small bit shorter than that.
4'10".
If this happens in football, this is the conversation all day long.
There's no traveling in football.
That's true. But there's other stuff that we all talk about.
It's the Chiefs.
And this, if it's the Chiefs, I mean, is this not and this is not the conversation today. It's a quick Steratore hit. It's fine. He was, maybe bobbling. I don't know. Was he not? Who knows? And then everyone's like, all right, moving on. And I mean, it's so, and I don't know why football's like this but it is so different, Pat, the level of ref scrutiny that happens. I mean, I've watched it 100 times and I've counted 65 steps.
Yeah, but you could say. You could say that what traveling kind of equates, if we're doing the NFL comparison, to a hip drop tackle. Hip drop tackle barely got called, last year when they said it was going to be a 15-yard penalty, but it didn't get called. People still did it, and then
go ahead. Sorry, Connor.
And traveling's just like that. Sorry, you go ahead.
No, well, what I was going to say is the refs also heard that he said, "Give me the motherfucking ball."
Yep.
So they said, "You know what? We'll let this guy kind of have a basketball moment here." And I don't know if we have the press conference clip afterwards of him talking about his coach. He was basically, here it is. This is a beautiful moment here, and also a sign of current college ball.
Derek, I know you were saying you were kind of due. This is your first game winner ever, or
Yeah. I wouldn't have given it to him if I had known
that. Magical moment. He also said in that press conference, he was asked why the players were asked as a whole why they respond to this particular coach so well. And Derek Queen's answer was I'll answer this. He goes, well, he paid us the money, first of all. So that's kind of the reason why. They almost said, we're working for this guy. He's the boss. And I kind of appreciate that mindset is happening, because we're in this modern college world where NIL is happening and, trusts are paying and schools are having to pay these players. And obviously it's a wild, wild west with the rules and when they can pay, when you can't pay, yada, 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 you name it. But I appreciate the fact that it seems like the way they operate is hey, we're paying you the money. You work for us. Okay. And that's how they view it. Derek Queen spoke for the team. He was he's the boss. He's the one paying us. He's a hard coach, I guess. He's a player's coach. He talks about him more than about life. It's and Derek Queen saying, why are you that confident? Him just saying, well, I'm from Baltimore for the Maryland team. I mean, it's that's a beautiful story. That could be the March story. I thought it was going to be Colorado State. Hey, 3.7 seconds of magic. And then Derek Queen shoves it down their throat with a sick fundamental. Obviously, Sweet 16 is going to be great. Can't wait to continue to watch that. Indianapolis is hosting a site. More college basketball news. Ty, congrats, dude.
Wow. Got our guy. Hey, listen, it got released yesterday that Iowa had basically come to terms with Drake's coach, Ben McCollum, and because I didn't want to get burned again, I kind of pumped the brakes a little bit. I was like, you know what? I'm not going to pop the champagne until we actually get him. And then Pete Thamel today, he announced, hey, Iowa has agreed to terms with Ben McCollum, Iowa City native, and apparently, West Virginia, I thought they might have been in on it, but because Ren Baker was his athletic director at Northwest Missouri State, so they have
ties together. Obviously, what he's done, he was only at Drake for 1 year, but they have their best year ever. But, I mean, he was born in Iowa City. He played, high school basketball in Iowa. It was a dream job, which is crazy because Iowa just seems to be the quote-unquote dream job for so many of these guys. I guess. You keep hearing that. But, no, it'll be crazy because his style – Drake they allowed the least points per game per possession of any team in the country this year. So, they play good defense. They kind of take the shot clock down to, 5 or less, get a good quality shot every single time. And that is not what Iowa has been for the last 15 years. They run a bunch. They score a bunch of points. They don't play any defense. Mm-hmm. So it'll be very interesting to see, kind of who stays, who goes, all that kind of stuff. But, yeah, I couldn't be more ecstatic that Iowa got Ben McCollum.
Yeah, I'm bummed out. West Virginia was supposed to get him, obviously. He needs to cut his hair if he's going to play Big 12 basketball, Big 10 basketball. Big 10, not messing around. Neither is the SEC. Obviously, 7 teams still remaining. Greg Sankey will join us here in about 25 minutes or so to probably take a victory lap. Because after the first round, they got buried because the Big 10 was 10-0. The Big 10 was kind of doing their thing. SEC had losses, and then 7 teams end up in the Sweet 16. So Sankey, and he predicted that he thought it was going to be 7 before the tournament even started. So we will provide him an opportunity to take a victory lap. Go ahead, Rap. Do you know Sankey well?
No, I met him briefly when I covered the SEC, which my first question, I know we got a guest waiting, so I want to get to, but I'll just say my first question to Sankey is going to be, do you remember me and how sad are you that I left? But we'll get to that. We'll get to that in a sec. Go ahead, Pat.
Yeah, okay, make it about you, Rap. I do respect that. Now, joining us, ladies and gentlemen, is a man who knows everything about everything happening in college sports. He hosts College Game Day for football and for basketball. Ladies and gentlemen, the consummate professional, Rece Davis.
Yeah, I'm a little worried about Ty though, because Iowa is going to play slow. But the guy does have 4 national championships. He's got 42 national championships, so
Hey, Rece, he's been watching Iowa football, brother. They play slow.
That's a great point.
Yeah, I was hoping for that. I was hoping for that slow-ass basketball to come to West Virginia, but that wasn't the only hire. Xavier beats Texas, knocks him out of the tournament. Coach gets hired there. How often is this the kind of musical chairs for coaches? This is kind of the status quo here, and how many more do you think we see before the end of this whole tournament, Rece?
I don't think a lot more. I think most of the musical chairs have been filled. You were making a great point earlier about sort of acknowledging the realities of the system with the players with Derek Queen and Kevin Willard. I think the same thing happened with NC State and Will Wade. He told them straight up the idea was to get a Power 4 job, and maybe there would be opportunities for them depending on how things went. And it's a very professionalized model. I think the thing about Sean Miller going from Xavier to Texas that's interesting is that Chris Del Conte, the Texas athletic director, who I know you guys know, loves to make the big hire. Sean's been very successful both at Arizona and in both of his stints at Xavier. Kind of tough, I'm sure, from their standpoint because Xavier extended him a lifeline. But hey, look, they knew if this opportunity came up, he was going to move on, and he did, and he'll do a great job at Texas. But I think we're close to done because I think most of the not all obviously, but most of the big jobs are filled, and I don't know that we'll have any more pop open right now.
Ooh. West Virginia's still wide ass open, Rece. Okay,
well, that's why I said not many. I said there's obviously that one. Who do you want, Pat? I think you should. I think West Virginia. You want to bring back Huggins? You brought back Rich Rod, right?
Not a bad idea.
Yeah, a little sooner, a little different. 15 years, like a year and a half. There's different conversations for everybody. Whoever's going to win, we can't wait to see them get there. Thought McCollum was coming. Maybe that Calhoun fella. Maybe Coach Fraser, who's already on the staff. I'm sure Wren will do it. Okay, let's move to the tournament itself as opposed to the coaches. Okay. Did we know that it was going to be heavily favored for the favorites? And Rece, a lot of people are saying NIL and transfer portal and everything like that potentially killed Cinderella stories forever. Is that real, or is this an overreaction, you think, to potentially what's happening right in front of us, Rece?
I think that there is some truth to it, but I don't believe that it's killed it forever because the guys who are having opportunities to move up have to be at the other level at some point, and you're going to have the Cinderella teams that have veteran guys, as we've had in the past, make runs. almost saw it with Colorado State last night. I think there will still be Cinderellas. I do think it will be maybe a bit more rare than it's been in the past, simply because, I mean, look, every team that's contending, virtually every team that's contending, and that's a high seed, they have a large number of players who have moved up. And, I think that's just the reality of where we are. I'm for it. All of us look for better opportunities in life, and I don't have any problem with the players moving up too. But, it probably does come at the expense of, it will be rare to see multiple Cinderellas make it to the Sweet 16, or more rare than it's been in the past.
Go ahead, Rep.
So one of the things we were talking about kind of coming in here, Rece, is Daniel Hurley, UConn coach, went a little viral on the way to. I appreciate the Daniel on the way to the locker room. But look, it's a brief moment. It's probably the most memorable one here, but he's had a lot of memorable moments as UConn's coach. Now that they are out, can you help us appreciate the run that UConn's had over the last 2 into 3 years?
Thank you, Rob.
Thank you, Rep. Good work.
I think it's one of the great runs in modern tournament history, because it is so difficult to keep a team together. Because if you have great young players, they go to the NBA. If you have great older players, somebody bids a lot more money, you have to manage your salary cap. Then you also have to deal with complacency, which is, as we've been told many times by people familiar to all of us, is the enemy of greatness. And they were able to fight that off largely because of the force of Danny's personality. And he has to have his kind of guys playing for him. Not just anybody's going to be able to go and play at Connecticut for Dan Hurley. You got to have a little edge to you. You got to have a little bit of thick skin. And all of those guys want to be coached that way. And I was not. I think Florida's the best team in the tournament. I still do. And I was not at all surprised that they had to fight with every ounce of their being to take that away from UConn, because UConn wasn't going to hand it over for a second. As far as the aftermath, look, I mean, he is the best coach in the game, in my judgment. But that's just him. He's going to do that stuff. He's going to have these fits of pique, in the moments afterward, and feel like that he got hosed and all of this. So I'm not too bothered by it. I think he got a little bothered by some stuff I said earlier this year when, he's lying on the floor and screaming at the officials and stuff like that. But, he'll get over it. He's a great coach.
Did he say something to you?
No, he sent word that he didn't appreciate it, so it's okay. But I don't.
He sent a capo. Okay. He sent one of his captains. Hey, go let.
I don't think he sent word. I think he just shared it, and then it was shared with me. But it's okay. We're good. I think the world of him. I enjoy talking to him. I think he's a fascinating dude, man, and I know he's a great coach. And he gets mad. It's okay, and we all do sometimes.
Rece, Rappaport came in here, and he didn't know he was talking to a Dan Hurley friendly crowd. He came in with his journalism degree.
Oh, really? Yeah.
I don't like the way Danny Hurley acts, and this entire thing. And he is a bit much. And then we immediately went to Sirianni, who operates in his own fashion as well. If you can get the boys to buy in, who cares how you act? That's what coaching is all about. You bring out the best in people. Let's talk about Calipari with the job he did with this Arkansas team. We talked to Calipari, Western Pennsylvania Italian, Paisano. We talked to him last year when he took the Arkansas job. They didn't even have a team. I don't even think they had a player. I think everybody was gone. That's right. They didn't have, and the way Calipari tells you, he's like, we don't even have a locker room, was basically what he was saying in the entirety. Now they go 0-5 to begin the season against the SEC. Now they're in the Sweet 16, obviously knocking off Paisan Patino St. John's team, who couldn't make a shot for the life of them, which he knew was a potential problem for that St. John's team. Let's assume they get that fixed for next year. But whenever you talk about GOAT conversations, Calipari's in it. So is Patino, I guess. So is Izzo. Like, where does Calipari rank in all that? And what does this year's team look like in comparison to his previous teams, Rece?
I mean, they're not nearly as deep. They're talented, but certainly not as talented as some of his great Kentucky teams. But you're looking at a team now that is 2 wins away from making John Calipari the first coach to take 4 different programs to the Final Four. 4. And Patino we thought Patino might be the guy to do that, because he also has taken 3. And now it's Cal with a 10 seed. The death of Cinderella is suddenly John Calipari and Arkansas with a double-digit seed in the Sweet 16. I think it's one of his best coaching jobs. And while I think he was underappreciated at the end at Kentucky, I think the fresh, if you want to use the metaphor, a fresh shot clock was really good for both parties. It was good for Kentucky, and it was good for John. And he's done a fabulous job with this team. And he seemed like the old Cal yesterday. We had him on game day yesterday morning, and he's cracking jokes and being self-effacing and, talking about all the things that have gone wrong and all of this stuff. So he seems to be in his element, a little bit of an underdog, and he seems to enjoy life a little more that way.
We're hoping he stops by here tomorrow or maybe the next day to chit-chat before the Sweet 16. LeBron James also on the show this week. I don't know if you know that, Reese. Anyways, let's stick with the March Madness convo. D-Bud has a question for you, Reese.
Yeah, sticking with March Madness, we're talking about teams and obviously great coaches. But for the casual fan out there tuned in now, who are the most exciting players left in the tourney now? We're in the Sweet 16.
Well, everybody knows about Cooper Flagg and Janai Broome. They've been battling for Player of the Year all year. And this is not going too far out on a limb because it's a 1 seed. But, man, Walter Clayton Jr. at Florida he just looks like an NBA guy. Such a quick and pure release. I didn't think he was playing his best offensively yesterday. And then when Florida needed clutch shots, he made them. I think he is as much fun to watch as anybody in the tournament. I think he is, he's just a sensational guy. Jace Richardson at Michigan State is a guy that's really come on in his freshman year. That's terrific, I think. And there are a number of other guys. I think Alabama has a couple of young players that are fun to watch. Everybody knows about Mark Sears, but LeBaron Philon is one of the fastest players that you'll see in the country, and them playing. BYU, and I think you guys are familiar with the Tater Tot King, Richie Saunders, his grandfather, I think, invented, developed, or whatever you do with a tater tot. And
Legend.
That's going to be. These guys are going to be both. That's going to be the most entertaining game of all. Both those teams will score, in the 90s, I think, in that Sweet 16 matchup. So there are a lot of really fun players to watch out there.
Happy birthday to J.J. Watt, heartbreaker for Wisconsin to go down to BYU, but also. I didn't know the Mormons had tater tots in their back pocket. That's
crazy.
I did not know that. That was a big deal. Go ahead, man.
Yeah, Reese. Obviously, the first couple rounds we're mentioning and talking about the Cinderellas being dead. Do you think that kind of continues into these Sweet 16 Elite 8 games? Do you think those top, Duke, Bama, Kentucky, some of those teams, Houston, are they going to continue to just roll, or do you think that some of these 4 seeds, like a Maryland, like an Arkansas and Calipari, might be able to kind of upset those big programs?
I think Arkansas has got a chance because of its matchup, and I do think Alabama has a massive challenge. They're not shooting the ball great from 3, and that's not really what you want against BYU. But Florida, Auburn, Duke, I think you see all of them move on. I think you see Michigan State move on. So I think for the most part you'll see that. The Tennessee-Kentucky thing is interesting because, Kentucky's beaten them a couple of times this year. So Tennessee's had their issues with them. So, I think for the most part, I think you'll see 3 1 seeds in the Final Four. And I think there's a possibility that maybe for just the second time in tournament history that, wouldn't be surprised at all to see Duke, Houston, Florida, and Auburn all make the Final Four.
Is this better? Sorry to interrupt, but is this I know we love the buzzer beaters and we love the Cinderella, but when you get to the final weekend and there's a 9 seed that we don't know any of the players, it always feels like, you kind of wish, I know the players, Pat. I'm just saying people who are more layman don't know. Yeah. Isn't this, in the end,
the layman,
for the
normal humans? Normal.
Right, right, exactly. You know what I mean, though?
I think that once you get here, it's always nice to have a mix. Last year was a pretty cool mix because you had 2 behemoths in UConn and Purdue. You had an ultimate Cinderella story in NC State who had saved their coach's job, won the ACC tournament, and then made it all the way to the Final Four. And you had Alabama breaking through for the first time. So you had a mix last year. But I also remember being there in 2008 when all of the 1 seeds made it, and it felt huge. And I think if you have all 1 seeds or maybe 3 1 seeds and a Tennessee or a Michigan State or whoever it might be, as a 2, you have those huge brand names. That's good too. So, there's good theater either way. So the one price you pay for the massive upset early is that it often turns into Sweet 16, Elite 8 type blowouts. You may still get blowouts. There's no guarantee against it, but I do think you get bigger matchups when you have a little more chalkiness in the bracket up to this point.
Rap, you look very athletic, very cool, very calm. That's
What
very
is
nice
this
of you.
weird baseball?
Jeez.
That's actually from Ireland, brother.
Schlitter.
Isn't that where you are?
No, I'm in Scotland, you prick.
It's not the
This,
same.
you disrespectful son of a bitch.
Geography.
I mean,
We're going to beat the piss out of
I'm
you
just
after
saying,
this.
it's like very similar. When I was talking to, I kept this very quiet, but I was talking to some people close to me, and I mentioned that Pat is in Ireland, which I assumed was true.
I'm in Scotland.
disgusting.
It is a different country than Ireland. Just like Wales is over here. There's
That
a
one
lot
I
of
knew.
countries over here.
Knew that one.
Including Tyler, who did this fantastic fade. Even what's that straight edge razor?
Yeah.
thing?
Oh, yeah.
Is that what?
Yeah.
Fucking lit the thing on fire.
No, he didn't.
Lit the thing on fire.
Actually,
Put a little salt on it. Lit the thing on fire right in front of me.
Like
And then he
it's
put the
creme
thing on. I'm
brulee?
like, yeah, it was exactly like that. Little fire, little shock and awe. I don't know if they put 151 Bacardi on there and then lit it on fire. But Tyler and then he comes in, attacks the neck. I'm like, I got sensitive skin, Tyler. He's like, I got you. And then he goes through the entire thing. It was a magical time. But this is Scotland, you prick. Okay, and this is a great country, good people. Come to Glasgow. It is. It was a very active downtown. Very active. It might be the nicest day in this town's history. Sun shining. Clear skies. I was the only person with sunglasses because I don't think they fucking sell them over here. I mean, it's been a wonderful, wonderful morning, legitimately. Let's get back to some college hoops, though. You sound so typical journalist, Ian Rappaport. We need the big names in there. But, Rece, let's go to you. We're going to have Sankey joining us here in a moment. SEC, ESPN. This is exactly what you and Seth Greenberg wanted, isn't it, Rece? Isn't it what you guys wanted, Rece Davis?
The funny thing is boy, we got a little blowback from the picks made immediately on bracketology with all the 1s and 2 seeds and all the SEC teams. And then when the SEC teams lost, which is bound to happen, there were 14 of them in there. People saying, see, they stink. And now they've got 7 of the Sweet 16. And if they don't have 3 in the Final 4, then everybody will say, they stink. They were overrated. It was the best conference I've seen. And, whether someone says, well, the conference play wore out a team or they peaked too soon, or whether someone says it, got them ready for the rigors of the tournament, all depends on whether they win games or not. Ole Miss, after its win yesterday, well, we had all these battles in conference play that got us ready. There had been some concern about Auburn, whether they had peaked too soon because of the level they had played at. So a lot of this sort of is revisionist history based on your outcome. But it was the best conference. Doesn't mean the other teams can't beat them. Doesn't mean that the other conferences weren't good. But it was historically great in conference play this year, and they're reaping the benefits of it now.
Yeah, Ole Miss making it is just so funny to think about because, we were obviously a part of the conversation here very late that the SEC is very good. Seth Greenberg, SEC ESPN host alongside you. He came in and was just like, the SEC. Then Sankey comes on and Sankey's like, what do you want? We committed fully to basketball. We knew it was a down thing. We have gymnastics. We have baseball. We have softball. We have football.
What?
We have women's basketball. Our men's basketball was kind of down. So we invested in men's basketball, and they kind of go about, doing the entirety. Then you watch the Ole Miss team, it's like they got Chris Beard as their coach. Like, coaching matters in this tournament. And then all of a sudden, the Ole Miss team, which is way down, I think, in the SEC pecking order at this moment. I don't know about what it's going to be in the future. They got Beard coaching down there. It's like that dude creates dogs. Like, that's what his team is. So you watch it all kind of fall into place. It's like it makes sense that they are as dominant as they are. I can't wait for the Sankey victory lap here while they can still do it. Go ahead, Ty Schmidt.
Yeah, Rece, speaking of Seth, we had him on last week, and he kind of said how in years past, or starting a couple years ago, he said, hey, the ACC and the Big East should form some sort of super conference for basketball. Now, obviously, football kind of muddies that up a little bit. But ACC used to be the king of college basketball, and now Duke is the only team in the Sweet 16. I can't imagine they're very happy about that. Is there a chance that this kind of gets brought back to the table and they do kind of explore this a little bit more after how dismal of a performance the ACC had in the tournament this year?
I think it was a wake-up call, Ty, as if they didn't have it already. I don't know that it will lead to any type of merger, maybe some type of scheduling arrangement to, boost their resumes come Selection Sunday. But I think you've already seen a lot of the ACC teams respond to this. A year after going to the Final Four, NC State makes a coaching change. Virginia has hired, Ryan Odom now. North Carolina is changing the way it operates in terms of general manager. I think they were a little bit, if not a lot, slow on the draw about the way things, you guys were talking about it earlier, Derek Queen saying they paid us the money. I think North Carolina was still of the mindset of, well, Michael Jordan and Jerry Stackhouse played here. You should just come play here. And, they weren't as competitive as they needed to be in some situations in terms of acquiring talent. I think that's about to change. Duke obviously has been on the cutting edge of this and leading the way. So I think you're going to see a bit of a resurgence from the ACC. Scheduling games against the Big East would be great, just because it would be entertainment and good content. But I don't think it's necessary for their survival.
Rece, I love that. I knew there was no way you were going to be on board with an ACC Big East. I knew that. As soon as it's like that ain't, we don't need to be rearranging everything just for one particular year to be kind of changed. But
right.
It is fascinating. Yeah. If you're thinking, Duke, UConn at MSG, that would be, granted, that's just 1 week of the year. Let alone everything.
Now, I'm all for a scheduling arrangement. More Duke and more UConn. You can put me down for that, which is a strange thing. The UConn fans, really as a whole, they can't stand Duke, and I don't understand that, because if anyone historically has had Duke's number in big spots, they always win. And yet for some reason they hold this contempt for Duke that I don't quite get.
Yeah, I don't know.
What, you guys jealous?
Jealous. We are the bluest of bloods when it comes to programs. So why would we be jealous? You look at the last how many years?
I know 5. You always beat them.
Yeah, I'm not of that part of the group who has this jealousy or this hatred for Duke. Don't really care that much about them. It's all about UConn, baby. You women's and men's, we've been dominant. So why would we be? Duke's all right.
If we want to talk about who's been more dominant as of late, how come DeVries wanted to get out of West Virginia and go to Indiana, Rece? Last 12 years, West Virginia's. Go ahead.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know the answer personally. Unless he just had a thing about, Indiana historically, one of the great programs is West Virginia has been great too. I'm not disputing that.
Thank you.
The championships and Bob Knight and the Hoosiers movie and sort of in the DNA of the culture. Would you argue, Pat, that West Virginia is more of a football culture? Most of America is a football culture, but more of a football culture than a basketball one, even with Jerry West and the greats that have been there?
Definitely, coal mining. That's a football place. Right. But the history of basketball is obviously very serious. You talk about the logo for the NBA coming through there. Now, with that being said, Stignetti down in Indiana, don't get it twisted. Paisan came in and brought a football thing. I think that's why Indiana is in such a good spot. With that being said, as somebody who married into an Indiana family, I understand why DeVries went to Indiana. Okay? Hate it that West Virginia is still currently coachless, but I very much understand and I get respect for Red. Now, Helen has a question for you, and I think it's probably going to be about the gambling. And those of us who cheer for the little guy and bet on the underdog, kind of a bummer these last few days. Go ahead, Tom.
Yeah, Pat knows me super well. It is going to be about the gambling, and I was kind of thinking about this when we had the college football playoff. There was 12 teams in there, but we were like, not all 12 of these teams can win the national championship. I'm not going to say like, hey, we knew SMU probably wasn't going to win the national championship, Indiana, whatever. But now that we are here with 16 left in the basketball tournament, is there a chance, can all 16, since there was no super, upsets and there is not the true Cinderella in this, is there a chance that any of these 16 could actually win the national championship?
I don't. I would be surprised.
Okay.
I think there are still
levels to
5 or 6. I would say the ones that I think Florida's the best team. I think Duke is right there with them. I think Auburn is not far behind. Houston can win it. And then after that, after those four, I think some things would have to fall right. It would have to fall right for Tennessee, Alabama, Michigan State. I think it would have to fall right. And then beyond that, I would be surprised. I don't think I've left anybody out. So I think it's really four, and then a couple of others that have a shot at it. So 7 wouldn't stun me. Anything beyond those 7 teams would be very surprising to me.
Rece, you keep talking about Florida being the team you think is best. The public generally seems to be on Duke. Why do you think, what does Florida have that Duke doesn't have?
They're a little bit older, although Duke does have some veterans. And I think Seth Greenberg has put it very well. Florida has 2 of everything. And they're gargantuan. And I think, Cooper Flagg is great, but so too is Walter Clayton Jr. And I think Florida's got just a ton of size. They can play with great pace. They've got guys off the bench who can produce. And the shot that you're showing right now is just a fantastic shot. And Clayton just makes them time and time again. Got Final Four experience with Elijah Martin, who went to the Final Four with FAU a couple years ago. Look, it's not by a wide margin. I'm not saying Duke can't beat them. They certainly can. But, if I have to rank them in order, I'm putting Florida at the top of the list.
I love watching that Florida team. They were humming early. They were running fast. It was going. Now, obviously, UConn was able to get back into it, and it became a great game. The offensive rebounding that they did at the very end obviously seals it for them. But a lot of fun teams to watch. When are you guys back on TV? It was fun watching you this weekend.
Saturday morning, 11 a.m. Eastern time. Slows down a little bit, and then we'll have a big show around the Final Four.
I like Jay Billis in his bedroom looking in a sport coat and a suit to be professional. I like that. I like Pete Thamel checking in with some breaking news. Hopefully he'll tell us that a great coach is going to West Virginia. We appreciate the hell out of you, Rece.
Likewise, guys. Have a good one. Enjoy Scotland.
Thank you. That's the country, Ian, you piece of trash. Ladies and gentlemen, Rece Davis. Hey, Rap, before we have the SEC commissioner join us here in a matter of moments, why don't you tell us about what's going on with Aaron Rodgers? Did anybody know he was traveling out to Pittsburgh on Friday? And that was just a meet and greet. What was it from your end of the source spectrum? And what do you think got accomplished here? And what do you think we're looking at here going forward?
God, I love these Photoshops. He looks.
That's not a Photoshop.
Yeah, he looks so old. As far as
he's healthy, fit.
He's 42. Anyway, it doesn't matter.
Look at those biceps, man.
Random
look at that vascularity.
Yeah.
That is a gray beard right there. Just for Men seems like a great product. Anyway.
Never dye your beard. For those that are listening, we know you're dyeing your beard. Don't do it. Don't do it. Look terrible.
Bob Sala.
Yeah.
You name it. We can go through a lot of names of people that dye their beard, and we just want to let them know we know. Like, I'm 37, and I got a lot of gray and white in my beard. You can't dye it because it turns purple. We can see. We know what's happening. Just do it. Anyways, back to you, Rap.
I'll tell you what. Not a lot of dyed beards on this set right here.
You're right. We would never do that, Rap. That's what we were just saying.
I respect it. So as far as who
John,
knew
you'll
about...
dye your beard? John, hold on. Let's kick him out.
So these things right here get super white. So, just a little touch of gray. But throw a little, just for men, touch of gray in there.
Wait.
I haven't been able to tell. You got me.
Yeah,
Stuck one past the goalie there.
That's touch of gray football, brother.
What the hell?
Good product.
I did not know that. Never mind. Go ahead, Rap. Anyways, on the Aaron Rodgers stuff. Jeez.
This is called... You know what this is?
You found it.
You know what this is called? Reporting. This is literally reporting. This is journalism right
Journalism.
The gray cowboy.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I would say this on the Rodgers.
The silver cowboy. Sorry.
That's fine. It's true. It was amazing to me, and we've sort of talked about this before. The close circle that Aaron Rodgers has. Not a lot of people knew about this visit. People very close to him did not know about this visit. Which, look, this leaked or not leaked. I hate that word. It broke from a reporter who's covered the Steelers for a very long time and is very tied in there. Only once he was in the building, right? So, like, for a lot of us, I think, we sort of thought a visit would be coming, but just to be frank, like, I was also like, I saw the news and was like, oh, okay, I guess it's today. I didn't know either, and so I think there were a lot of people real close to him that were sort of a little bit in the dark, which I think he likes. Now, as far as the visit, and we'll get into this a little more when Greg Sankey's not waiting for us, and you let me know when to shut up so he can get on. but it sounded like it went really well. And that is my sense. Sounded like it went really well.
I think he wanted to. I think they both probably wanted to get to know each other. The way Jerry Dulac has been reporting on the Steelers for a very long time. I assume as soon as he walks in the building, somebody sees him that Jerry knows and tips him off, and Jerry reports it, and then everybody else kind of follows suit. With that being said, I think it was both sides wanting to get to know. The Michigan Pro Day was allegedly happening on this particular Friday. They opted not to go to the Michigan Pro Day to meet with Aaron ownership. Obviously, the con artist Omar Khan, Mike Tomlin, probably numerous others around the building. I don't know if this was necessarily just him trying to get a feel out for what the Pittsburgh Steelers would be like, but also the Pittsburgh Steelers maybe getting a feel out for Aaron Rodgers. Will this thing work? Maybe. I'm pretty excited. But you saying that it was good. The reporting. The message that I got afterwards was a positive message as well from my source. Says. Now, obviously, no agreement happens during that day. And is Aaron still contemplating whether or not he was going to continue to play? New York Giants allegedly still very much in on this, right, Rap? Is that accurate, even though they signed Jameis Winston?
Yeah, I don't think. I mean, the Jameis Winston thing is sort of like we need a backup quarterback, right? And that to me makes sense. These things, contract speaks. Right, so Jameis Winston gets $4 million a year. That is backup quarterback money, right? That is, to me, the best way to tell. It's like, look at the contract. That will tell you everything. I would say Giants are still in it. Now, as far as I can tell, there's not been a visit to the Giants, but I know there's been communication there. So it seems to me that he knows what he needs to know, right? Like, visited the Steelers, again, really positive from both sides. I think they came away with it being like, all right, like this could work. And look, when Rodgers talks football, like really when he talks everything, it's kind of compelling and fascinating from ayahuasca to whatever. Especially in this show is
500-page report before anybody else. Just everything he says. Yeah, people listen to. On the record, I'd like to let that be known. Maybe too much. Too much, I'd say. But with that being said, incredibly deep thinker. Like, I think people just kind of shoo him off as a prima donna and everything like that. He's a hippie, deep thinker, wants to make sure everything's the right decision, especially because, to your point, he is older. This is the last decision he's probably going to make in football. Let's pivot away from Aaron Rodgers. We'll talk more about that, what Ian has. Joining us now, ladies and gentlemen, is the commissioner of the Southeastern Conference, who currently has 7 teams in the men's Sweet 16. Ladies and gentlemen, Greg Sankey.
Yeah, Commish!
Coach, Commish, we know you have something here in a few minutes, so we appreciate you taking the time. After the first round, you guys were getting killed. You guys lost a few games. And then now you have almost half of the teams left in the Sweet 16. How was the emotional roller coaster for you over the last couple of days? And how do you feel about your conference and their performance thus far?
I'll start at the end. It's always nice to break records, so we've done that on the men's side. I think we probably have a chance today. On the women's side, I know in particular you guys are cheering for Oklahoma over Iowa in women's basketball.
Shut up!
I'll get that one in.
Shot right out of the gate.
Yeah. There's like an irrational anxiety. If you were like next to me during these games, there's nothing I can contribute, right? And you're watching the highs and the lows. I pounded my fist on the table a couple of times over the 4 days of the tournament, but good news is we had a pretty good Saturday, Sunday. Went 7-1.
Go ahead, Rap.
I was actually going to get right to that. No, look, I want to. I was going to open the floor to a victory lap, but you seem to have already taken that. When you're watching, as you should, by the way. I'm an SEC guy. I covered Mississippi State now.
Way to go, Greg.
Nice.
Yeah, you're
Columbia.
guy.
Yeah, but I got a cowbell in my NFL Network studio. All right, we're all in. Which I'm sure Commissioner knew. I was wondering, how do you watch? Like, can you take us into are you full-throated for every team, and then you move what? No, not in a weird way, Pat. Not in a weird way. Describe to us what it's like for you watching the NCAA tournament, knowing what you've said, knowing what a lot of people think of the SEC. What's it like?
So I'll show you an example. Here's a visual example. When I'm at games, I have a little card, and I have the time, the timeout, and the teams. College basketball in particular is a game of streaks, like scoring streaks, defensive streaks. And so my nervous energy is the outlet as I track the games as they go based on the timeouts. I was sitting next to Steve McClain, Senior Associate AD, works in communication to Florida yesterday because I attended games in Lexington and Raleigh. over the weekends. He probably has a bruise on his upper thigh because I punched him when things went well.
Like Balmer?
Yeah. Punched him harder when things went poorly. You're sitting at a table where decorum is important. You guys know this from a media perspective. You're all in the media. You can't hear and stand. So I try to manage my emotions under the table. How's that for an explanation? But I track the games. I'm interested in what happens and, fouls that happen. The end of the UConn-Florida game, I went, through both sides of my little note card onto another note card because there were so many reviews and timeouts and moments.
Well, Dan Hurley has something to say to you, I assume, and hopefully he'll get a chance.
No, not to me. Everybody else, not to me. I'm like the good guy.
Definitely to you. D-Butt will have the last question for you here in about a second, but my question for you is, if you guys don't win the national championship now, bust. This is all a big fail. The SEC stinks at basketball. Is that how we should view it and talk about it?
People write that. No, not at all. I think we've achieved things that aren't there. Now, I want to be on that trophy stand, but every one of these games is unique. You guys are competitors. You understand that, right? The ball bounces a different way, bounces off the rim. Funny, yesterday it fell our way. You want to keep the momentum going, and having 7 of 16, I like our chances. But at this point in the tournament, every one of these teams is a great team. So it'll be fun to watch the games be played. That's reality. You put it at risk. If there's nothing at risk competitively, like why would people be interested? The fact that it's competitive and close, that's what's cool.
Yeah, there's been a lot of great games. Go ahead, D-Butt. Last question here.
Speaking of, obviously the commission of the SEC, probably one of the top 3 most powerful men in sports. Something that kind of took over my timeline. I don't know about the rest of the boys here. What's like your morning routine? Getting ready for your days, whether it's a tournament, college football playoffs, or whatever it is.
Usually I'm up at 5:30, go for a run, eat breakfast at home. Pretty boring. Drink my coffee in the office. Usually before 8. We had a power outage because of a storm, so I couldn't get my garage door to open.
Oh,
no. Had a little bit of a technical glitch.
So then what happens? Hold on. Are you lifting it from the bottom thing, or how?
I was texting staff for a ride, actually. Texting staff for a ride. A little bit of design flaw we have to work on there. I don't know if this is good TV or not, but that's what happened. So usually I get up and run and read a little bit. Today I was trying to figure out how to get inside my garage so I could drive to work.
Okay.
Hey, Commish, why don't you stick your face into some sparkling water with ice in it tomorrow, and good luck the rest of the way. We appreciate the hell out of you stopping by.
Cheers.
Cheers to you, brother. Ladies and gentlemen, the commissioner of the SEC, Greg Sankey.
Yeah! Commish!
Hey, so that guy's a former football player, right?
Yeah.
Old buddy?
Yeah.
Yep.
So.
Alcorn State.
Yeah, Tone was watching his film this morning.
Yeah, good huddle tape. Good huddle tape out there.
He can move, dude. This guy can move. I saw Lethal Shooter once again hit a gummy bear into a bottle yesterday, and then I watched this guy run, and it's like some of these fitness influencers a little bit different than the others. Mm-hmm. Some of these trick shot people a little bit different than the others. This guy sticking his face in sparkling water at 4 a.m., certainly something, but I got massive respect for this man. Massive respect for this man.
That seems terrible.
What do you mean?
No,
there it is. 5:45.
I'll tell you this. I did a little cold plunging in Montana. People don't know that. It was awful. We'll be back after this. Pat, don't go anywhere. Don't go anywhere. We're coming back.
There is a crowd of about 30 people moving through the back end of the business field here. And in the middle of it is this black Samoan man who has become the most famous human on earth.
Great guy.
Ladies and gentlemen, the GOAT, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. There's thousands and thousands of people skipping class to come see your big ass. Listen, there is thousands and thousands of you skipping class. It doesn't matter if they go to class.
Moana is one of the best animated films of all time.
What?
Okay, can't wait for the live action.
Thank you, yes.
But
You're welcome.
We talk about Moana.
What can I say except you're welcome?
And we talk about mana.
Honestly, listen, kid, I could go on and on. I could explain every natural phenomenon. The tide, the grass, the ground. Oh, that was Maui just messing around. I couldn't have buried its guts. Sprouted a tree, now you got coconuts. What's the lesson? What is the takeaway? Don't mess with Maui when he's on a breakaway. And the temperature here on my skin is a map of the victories I win. Look where I've been to make everything happen. Look at the me new Maui just tickety-tapping. That's it.
Still got it.
On the Samoan side, Polynesian side, we have a word called mana. Mana is spirit. Mana is power. Mana comes from in here. It's the thing that gives you goosebumps. It's that thing you feel. It's that thing when I walked out and we felt this thing. This is mana. This is mana. It's very, very, very real, and you could feel it. Wow. Little things like I don't get driven anywhere. I don't want to get driven anywhere. I don't like chauffeurs. Keeps me in my way just a little grounded. Like I could drive myself everywhere and not telling some guy, hey, take me here, take me there.
That is something I'm going to start saying like, yeah. Because when they open your door, you feel so bad. I can open my own door, dude. They're trying to be courteous. It's their job. But also, the day I stop opening my own door is the day I become a big old bitch.
Here we go.
That's a big cup.
Sorry, Mike. Here's the iconic sound. You guys know it. This special Terramana toast goes out to Passion. Congratulations on your show. Very proud of you. Very proud of all you boys. And to all of you, love you guys. Thank you for the support. Keep kicking ass. Cheers. In my world, when I sit down and we're talking about movies and all this other shit, it's never this. It's never this, back with the boys, and you. So I appreciate it, and this one's to you. Thank you, boys.
See you, pal. Cheers.
Thank you.
All right, we're going to take a 5-minute break here.
Oh, hold on, one more. If you smell.
The following program is a collection of stooges talking about happenings in the sports world. It is meant to be comedic informative. The opinions expressed on this show do not necessarily reflect the beliefs of their peers, their boss, or ESPN. There may be some cuss words because that's how humans in the real world talk. If you are young, please seek permission before watching any further.
Hey. Let's go.
This show stinks, and the fact that you listen, we are very, very thankful for.
McAfee on the line with a gorgeous assist.
The all-time leading tackler for the Green Bay Packers.
You pink.
Damn it! Be a friend, tell a friend something nice could change their life.
Welcome back to the Thunderdome. I am looking at you over there because that's where this camera is, and there's other cameras, but I have found this one. I am Ian Rappaport.
Madness!
See, I paused for dramatic effect, Pat. I am in for Pat McAfee today. Pat is in Luxembourg with the WWE.
Jesus. WWE.
It is on.
Hey, some Scottish fella is going to run into you one day and smack you right in the mouth for disrespecting this country. Oh, Scotland. Yeah. I'm in Glasgow, Scotland. Okay? I'm in Glasgow. It's former shipbuilding town. Okay? Then they started working on the docks. Then they started getting a little finance and tech. Okay? Yeah. You need to show a little bit of respect. A lot of history here while also evolving into the modern day. Active Glasgow this morning. Shout out to Cafe Sono. Okay? And my guy Fahi and his mom from Turkey making a wonderful Scottish breakfast this morning. It's been a fantastic day as something pops up on my screen there. You are something. Okay, great. Yeah, it is. It's great. Monday Night Raw here tonight, live, 4 p.m. Eastern on Netflix. And you're disgusting, Rappaport, the way you talk about this country. It's a beautiful place.
What kind? I mean, I'd love to go there and play golf one of these days.
I hope the Scottish psychopath Drew McIntyre smacks the taste out of your mouth.
He's actually quite calculated.
Quite calculated. Not much of a psychopath.
Rap. Disgusting. Everything you're doing is disgusting, but we appreciate you traveling to Indianapolis, Rap. Way to do that.
Thanks.
I had the middle seat on the way here. It was tough. Comfort plus.
Yeah, but for you, that's like a king, right? Isn't that like a king size ride? Because then you get two shoulders to kind of shimmy. Yeah,
it is. I must say, I was in Comfort Plus, and I didn't need it. I had enough. I was almost too much legroom.
That's surprising.
Interestingly enough,
you sleep on flights, work, read?
No. So I did.
Booze.
I was watching the Netflix golf, Full Swing, which was amazing. But usually what I'll do is I'll put my playlist on, put my AirPods in, and go to sleep, but only to my music, which is very weird, but that's how I roll. So full like coma pose.
Do you put the eyes? Do you put eye covers on and the neck?
I'm not.
Pillow? Do you do the whole?
No, I'm. Not only do
Pinky?
Not only do I not do that, I am anti neck pillow. My wife has 5 of them because she always loses them and then has to buy a new one at the airport. So I think they're dumb and don't work, and also are weirdly shaped. So I hate them, and I'm out on neck pillows.
I would like to let everybody know that the plane I was on had like 100 up, 100 down Wi-Fi.
Oh, really?
Never experienced anything like this before. Got a FaceTime from Tyrese Halliburton while I was flying up over Canada. And I'm sitting there, and this FaceTime comes through, and I answer it 4K. The greatest connection I've ever had. Shout out to Starlink. I know there's everybody mad about things. I think if Starlink infiltrated people's lives a little bit more, they'd be like, "Hey, thanks for that happening." Wild. I was watching the games last night on my phone while I was flying in this place. I mean, no glitches.
Street. Now this was a commercial flight, I assume. Delta.
Frontier.
No.
JetBlue.
Nope.
They do have TVs on JetBlue. I know that.
That's true.
They do.
The game.
Not one of those.
No, it was Big Bird. Have to get back. LeBron James, is going to be on the show this week. Had to get back, have to do that type of thing.
Sure.
Obviously, want to save the world. I thought we were all trying to do that, but nonetheless, the talk show table's here at Boston Connor, at Ty Schmidt. Good to see you, boys.
Good to see you. See you.
Oh, man, you just got absolutely brutalized in the shins, huh? Gambling this weekend. Is this the worst weekend you've had of gambling in some time?
Yeah, it's probably the worst weekend ever. And I saw some people
Seriously?
say, oh, yeah, by far. I mean, when you're betting every single underdog money line, there's a chance you're going to get kicked in the teeth. But typically, it is kind of a record like this where it's, not 13-44, but, you're losing about 30 times. But one of those wins is going to be a plus 800, a plus 650. I think the biggest one was Arkansas against St. John's, and even that wasn't massive like we saw last year with an Oakland or, one of those FAU runs that Rece Davis kind of just mentioned there. But, that's okay because some of these underdogs in the next round now are going to be fantastic teams. Like we already looked at those matchups. I'm assuming Kentucky is going to be a dog. That'll be fun to bet on. Ole Miss, BYU. I mean, the BYU team I feel like was one of the most entertaining teams. The BYU-Wisconsin game, they were lighting it up from all over the court. Both teams really were. So I'm still looking forward to the next couple rounds. I still have hope in the underdogs. But, yeah, as far as success goes, I saw limited to none all weekend. It was pretty brutal.
It's all right. It was great sports for all of us. Yeah. At Darius J. Butler is here, obviously 9-year NFL vet. We'll have Daniel Jeremiah joining us in about 15 minutes to continue to dive into the draft and everything that he's here. And one half of the Hammer, Dahn. Cowboys, Silver Fox, AP Tone also here talking about everything going on around the NFL. Let's do some NFL stories because we have Rap Sheet here, and obviously you have different takes than us. We chatted about the Jameis Winston deal to the New York Giants. You said that's backup money. It's easy to see the contract. We talked about Aaron Rodgers, obviously going over to Pittsburgh. We haven't discussed Ryan Tannehill potentially being the veteran backup for J.J. McCarthy, or how are the Vikings kind of viewing this situation? Because what kind of seemingly got leaked over the weeks from free agency to Aaron Rodgers, a prima donna diva, needs to make a decision to we're sick of this guy to wait a minute, maybe the Vikings are trying to figure out what they want to do with the quarterback, and Aaron is kind of weighing all options. Where do we stand with the Minnesota Vikings? I think Tom Pelissero was the first one to report that this is J.J. McCarthy's job. Is that where we are? And is Ryan Tannehill a guy that they're going to bring in to sit behind him? What do you think, Rap?
Okay, we'll start with the J.J. McCarthy part.
Hey, Schultz, by the way, don't fight him. Don't fight him.
Yeah, careful.
Yeah.
He almost spit in my coffee this morning. Rap Sheet was pissed.
Yeah, I saw Rap clench his fist when he saw you drinking that Starbucks.
I mean, this non-labeled coffee from the lovely Marriott that I stayed, they do a great job. Whatever this coffee is delicious.
Not as good as my Americano I got over here in Scotland from our friends at Starbase.
It is so hard to find good coffee in Europe. Anyway.
What's your strategy? Are you going to take him down like by the knees when you fight him, or what?
Shoot.
I was a high school wrestler. People don't know this. I got to be 500 my senior year, so I was terrible, and then I was average by the end. So I could be scrappy, but just to be see, I have a problem with this Oh, no, wait. Oh, there you go. You fixed it. All right, great. I was going to say I have a problem with the graphic, but you got the Stories Broke Unlimited is really, that's a good one. The weight's probably a little low. No, there's going to be no public fight. I don't really fight. I'm more of like a, hey, can you
security?
No. See, I had a problem with that too. Because that's not real. People will. You might not know this. People will believe anything they see on the internet.
Oh, really?
I knew it was bullshit.
Yeah, really.
Bullshit.
Yeah.
See,
You're talking about half-truths always happening?
D-Butt knew it was.
Yeah, that didn't sound like you. He tried to send that.
D-Butt wasn't there. What are we talking about?
I know, but I knew that's not rap sheet football.
Yep. You guys doubted?
I think D-Butt
My man's got me.
Potentially just. I think D-Butt may be lying. There for a little bit, we all thought maybe you did call security, and then once you told us that you didn't, you had to tell your boss about it because it was obviously in a public place. A lot of people. Then your boss obviously reports it. That makes a lot more sense. But I am appreciative of you being like, "Hey, we need to get the word out there that I did not call Mama and Dada, and the reason why that'll happen is not because of me." And we try to do that for you.
Appreciate that.
Unlimited Stories Broke, unlimited amount of cash available for Schultz. Nonetheless, Vikings, they're on Tannehill potentially to be the backup quarterback, or how do you see this going?
I would say Pelissero's right. It is J.J. McCarthy's team going forward. He's going to be the guy in OTAs. He's going to get the reps. And it did sound like in training camp last year, they thought he was excellent. Now, obviously, the knee injury kind of pulls him back a little bit, but he did the full meniscus repair. Generally, that means full recovery and no issues going forward. He's got a lot of time health-wise. I think he's going to be good. The Tannehill conversations, which I didn't get the sense were much it's not like conversations being like, all right, we'll offer you $20 million, and he's like, I want 25. Like, that's not the conversation. If there was any conversation, it was more like, all right, like, might you theoretically be available if we need you? Because Ryan Tannehill sat out all last year, right? I think would probably come back for the opportunity to start for an awesome team and maybe make like some decent bridge quarterback money, maybe 10 or 15, something like that. But I don't think it's like, I don't get the sense anything's imminent. And I think they hope that they don't need him. Because the hope is your future's now, roll with J.J. McCarthy, who's really talented, and just move forward from there.
Okay, so they were going to be in on Daniel Jones until the Colts said, you know what, we're actually going to get Daniel Jones. And then once Daniel Jones is off the market, because he was already in their building last year, they say, okay, we're going to roll full force with J.J. McCarthy. Do you think that's how that went? Or do you think there was real conversation about what the hell happens in the quarterback room over there?
Well, I would say they were in on Daniel Jones till that morning. Like they were in. They made an offer. It was, I think, similar, or maybe it might have been a small bit more. Trying to remember, I can't remember the exact numbers. Free agency was like a blur. Plus Twitter went out. It was all a mess.
No, a nightmare.
It was a nightmare. But they made, they offered him real money. I think similar to what the Colts offered him. So they were definitely in on it. But even if Daniel Jones had signed with the Vikings, I got the sense it was more they were going to let them battle anyway, right? Because like, let's say they signed Daniel Jones to a $15 million contract, and then J.J. McCarthy is clearly the better quarterback in camp. Players know. All the players in the locker room know who the starter is. So if it was JJ, then he was going to start. So like that's what I think it would have been anyway, and that's why I think Daniel Jones did a great job, Pat, of being like, the Colts is a better spot because I could start there and then just roll forward.
On that note, D-Butt had a little bit of a take about like, Daniel Jones all of a sudden became the bell of the ball, right? Wasn't that kind of the combo there, D-Bud?
Yeah, once he, wasn't starting and seeing him a lot on prime time, wasn't, necessarily stinking it up or blowing people away. Once you kind of go away, kind of like how coaches kind of go away for that year, and then they become the bell of the ball. I'm sure Mike McCarthy will probably experience that this offseason, just like Sean Payton and other guys have. So it's interesting now that some people are excited about him being in Indianapolis, potentially either push Anthony Richardson or to actually get in the starting job. I feel like, hey, he comes here, he pushes him, get a competition, but you want to see this bring the best out of Anthony Richardson, and hopefully that's what it does for. I'm sure a lot of Colts fans probably feel the same way.
Well, and Steichen, too.
Rappaport. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Well, like KOC gets a bunch of credit for being a QB whisperer, and he absolutely is. But like Steichen has had success with other quarterbacks. Like it happened with Gardner Minshew, where Gardner Minshew came Pro Bowl, and then he gets a deal with Las Vegas. Granted, Vegas went how it went, but it's not as if coming to Indianapolis is a huge step down as far as play caller goes, because we all know Steichen is one of those top guys at maybe not culture, but at being a play caller on offense.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the culture is going to get turned around. Okay, I've heard. They're working hard.
Okay.
Are they? You talking about Colts?
Yeah.
Colts just had to mature a little bit. They became professionals. They're all working hard this offseason. All right, D-Butt? We're optimistic.
Very optimistic. What is March 24th? Very, very optimistic. Things change around. I do love the people that Chris Ballard has brought in the building and paid big money. Cam Bynum, I love him. Heard great things about him off the field. Ward, same thing with him. And then it's been rumors. I don't know how true this is. Trey Hendrickson, are we getting him or what?
Oh,
are we reuniting him and Lou or what?
Good question.
I'm sure there's interest. It seems to me, so here's sort of the Bengals stance. I mean, obviously we saw they paid the 2 stud receivers, right? They paid Jamar and Higgins, got nice contract. Jamar, I mean, great contract. Higgins, really nice deal as well. The Bengals do not like letting good players leave the building. Even if it's for like a huge draft pick, they don't like it. They like to draft, develop, sign their own guys. And I think they get annoyed that people think that they don't sign their guys. So Hendrickson is awesome. He deserves a lot of money. I think his next contract's going to be above 30. Is it going to beat, Max Crosby? I don't know, but it's going to be above 30. And I think the Bengals are working. Not I think. I know the Bengals are working on it. And I know they would like to keep him in the building. They would like to pay him. And I think they would like people to stop saying, why don't the Bengals pay their guys? Because they do. And I think getting Hendrickson done at a money and a value that makes sense for both sides will be a great way for the Bengals to be like, see?
Yeah. Yeah, the interesting thing about that is in the Bengals social media dunked on me and many others.
Oh, yeah. It was
None of us, it was great. I thoroughly enjoy that type of shit. Now, there's a lot of people that were in that video were like, okay, we'll see how this works out. They have to defend their entire stance. For me, I love it. Hey, if you would like to Vince Carter, take off and dunk on me for something I say, I am 100% cool with that. I like that. I think that's good social. I think that's good digital. But I don't think any of us thought they were going to be able to get T and Jamar done. They do. Over $100 million for both of them. Now, the way the contract is being set up for T. Higgins, I think there's a lot more question marks on how the deal is as a whole versus what was originally reported by journalists like you and many others. But if they were able to get T, Jamar, and Trey Hendrickson all signed in one offseason, that would be very much opposite of what the Bengals are, but also a great way to prove that you'll spend money on your people. And then what do they do with the rest of the roster? It'll be fascinating. They
better draft. I mean, look, you spend a lot of money on these guys, Pat. It's awesome. It's what everybody wants. You have to draft well when you're paying top dollar. Have to.
Eagles were able to do this. Eagles were able to pay a lot of people. Now, granted, not as much, but at the time, with where the salary cap was, when they paid the people, Eagles and Hallie and everybody over there were able to do it because they drafted very, very well. It's like Bengals now got to do it. And I love that they're at that era of this team. They have an indoor practice facility. They sold sponsorship to their stadium. They have a franchise quarterback. They're paying players. Let's go, Bengals. Let's go, Bengals.
Yeah,
Let's go.
Bengals.
I love everything about it. Go ahead, Ty Schmidt.
Yeah, Rap Sheet, speaking of the draft, we've gotten a lot of people's takes on this, but I don't know if we've necessarily gotten yours yet. The closer we get to the draft, it seems like Cam Ward is kind of like the surefire number one pick now with the Titans. At this point, are we thinking that him and Shedeur Sanders are both going to go in the top 3, top 5, and where does that leave a guy like Jackson Dart? Like, are we going to potentially see 3 quarterbacks maybe go in like the top 15 or so? Because that's starting to pick up heat.
Okay, so I'll start with the last thing first. I think the way it's looking to me now, I would say my guess, and we'll get Daniel Jeremiah's take in a second, but my guess is we get 3 in the top 15. 3 in the top 15. Because quarterbacks
very
always
different statements there.
No, sorry. 3 in the top 15 is my guess. The biggest where Shedeur Sanders goes is the biggest draft question mark that I could remember in a very, very long time. And I know that Coach Prime, who we love, my former colleague, great dude, done an incredible job at Colorado, has talked about the haters. I don't know that it's haters, but people have a lot of questions because he is for sure talented. He has put 2 programs on his actual back and led them back to national prominence. Like what he did at Colorado is awesome. What he did at Jackson State's unbelievable. I mean, he is a rock star, but he's, it's not a slam dunk number 1 overall selection like I think a lot of people think Cam Ward is. So like, could Shedeur Sanders go 2 to Cleveland? Possible. 3 to the Giants? Possible. Could I see him going past the top 10 and be the biggest question mark of the draft with every single team on the clock being like, are they going to take Shedeur? I could see that too. Like, it is absolutely fascinating. And a month out now, I have absolutely no idea. I don't know.
Yeah, I think, you talk about Shedeur transforming 2 schools and 2 universities. That's very real. It has to be talked about. It's not just him, obviously. There's a lot that goes with it. But, like, what him and Travis Hunter were able to do. Travis Hunter, certified top 5 pick, right? He's going to be the first non-quarterback off the board? Or is Abdul Carter?
I would say it's a toss-up. Abdul Carter maybe has a little bit of a better chance now just because...
Because if the Browns don't draft Shedeur, they have Abdul Carter and Myles Garrett?
I would
position,
say
that position, like pass rusher, once if you get elite, a guys, they're calling him a blue chip elite type of guy, usually those guys go first, but we haven't, necessarily seen anything like Travis Hunter. I don't anticipate him playing full-time on both sides of the football, but we haven't seen anything like Travis Hunter and Abdul Carter. If you can get an elite pass rusher at the top of the draft, usually those guys are next valuable right after the quarterback.
It's a great graphic right here, by the way. I did not see this one before we go live. Really? Is this Bone? Is this a Bone production?
Dirty,
great work, Dirty.
Oh, yeah.
That is a great graphic. Abdul Carter looks super cool. He looks super cool.
It's
in the front of that thing.
The Zeke Elliott jersey pull-up is really what sells it right there.
And he's a dog, too. We learned about the shoulder and then the foot and everything that's kind of been happening. He just shows up and wants to play ball. So you would understand why the Browns might want to team him up. But, the Browns need a young quarterback, don't they? And it's
they do. But, so the Browns are in conversations with Russell Wilson, right? And he visited them. And so it seems now he's got mostly, Browns and Giants. And obviously everyone's waiting for Aaron Rodgers. So that's sort of up in the air. But it's interesting because if they sign Russell Wilson, first of all, I don't get the sense it's going to be a huge contract if he signs there. Second of all, everyone's going to say, well, obviously the Browns aren't taking a quarterback. And I would say I'm not so sure about that because I could actually see them doing all of them.
Yeah.
Just all of them. Like if Russell Wilson signs in Cleveland, it's not going to be for a lot of money. Then take them out of anything. You're going to take the best available player at 2 no matter what, if that's a quarterback or otherwise.
Joining us now, ladies and gentlemen, is a man who's a mock drafter, a man who actually had a top 5, top 3 trade predicted a couple years back that made us believe that this guy might know everything about everything when it comes to the draft. He and Rich Eisen host the Combine Move the Sticks. Ladies and gentlemen, Daniel Jeremiah.
What's up, buddy?
What's going on, boys? Ian, I was watching Ian's face when you said that about the trade. I just wanted to see his reaction to that because there was a lot of information got pulled in to make that prediction, but and I rightfully so. I should give Pelissero some credit there. No. So my bad.
Okay, this is the biggest nonsense. I'm sorry.
Hold on, I didn't know this was something.
Okay,
what happened?
All right,
what's this?
Quick story time. So me and Pelissero are driving. Tom is our VP of restaurant reservations, so we always will go to dinner at good places when we're together for draft week, which we will be this year.
Classic Arrow.
Shredding.
So we're DJ comes on speakerphone. He's talking through a mock draft with us, and it comes up in conversation. Now, I think I said it.
Oh.
Pelissero claims he said it. DJ believes that he said it. Anything could have happened. That maybe the Texans want both, meaning Will Anderson and Stroud. And so maybe they trade up. Now, he mocks it, puts himself way out on the limb. And so even though I broke the trade of the Texans trading up to 3, he's the one that gets the flowers on set. And so obviously I'm not jealous. I'm happy for him.
Ian.
No, I'm happy. This is me being happy for him. Anyway.
The funny thing is, Pat, as you know, unfortunately, there's this thing called the record of the Pat McAfee Show, where I went on and gave the full explanation of why I was doing that and talked about how I wanted to get at least one of the picks right. I feel like they're taking one of these 2 players, so if I make the trade, at least I get credit for having one of the 2 be correct. And that's actually on record on the Pat McAfee Show if you care to go back and look at it. But that's all right. Yeah.
Do some research, Rap. Go back and look it up. Nonetheless, however it came to be, in our eyes, you predicted it accurately. Now, did you use your source To get to that, that's good mock drafting. So let's talk about what your sources are saying now. Number 2 overall, obviously we were just chatting about it. We think that is like a linchpin potentially for the rest of the draft. Does another quarterback go there? Or does that cause chaos for people to trade up to get another quarterback, maybe Jackson Dart, if they think they're going to be in there? From what you're leaning at right now, and obviously 3.0 went out last week, we're waiting on 4.0. You have Abdul Carter going. Him and Myles Garrett being teamed up would be absolutely absurd in Cleveland. How sure are you of that, or are you just trying to sit in Andrew Berry's shoes? And what do you think is going to be the next shake, maybe from the information that you've received in your mock draft?
Yeah, I wouldn't say sure. I mean, the thing that feels sure right now in this thing is that Cam Ward feels very, very likely to go number 1, and then I think all bets are off. I would say this about the Browns. They're going to take a quarterback. I feel confident about this. They're going to take a quarterback with one of their first 2 picks. So is that a situation where they take Shedeur Sanders right there at 2? If they were to take Abdul Carter at 2, I think 100% I would keep an eye on the Browns as a team that could be trading back into 1 to maybe get into the Jackson Dart sweepstakes. So that's where I kind of see everything with them. And then that leaves the Giants. If Shedeur gets to the Giants, and if the Giants decide, that they're not going to take Shedeur, then what Ian was talking about, I think that really comes into play. Is like, okay, now it becomes a little bit trickier trying to find where that landing spot is. So I think Shedeur will know after the first 3 picks what kind of night it's going to be, because if he doesn't go in the first 3, I don't think the Jets will do it. And the Jets, bringing in Justin Fields is still young. I think they want to see what they have there. I thought the Saints, you could make a case there, but the way they're kind of trying to piece everything together and bring everybody back, with the Derek Carr situation, I don't know that I feel great about that being a landing spot. So for Shedeur, all eyes are on the first 3 picks, and if somehow he doesn't go to one of those 3 teams, then it becomes pretty interesting.
Before the boys have some questions, DJ, are you going to be at the draft in Green Bay?
Yes, I will be there. I will be there in Green Bay for that entire week. So we'll pop on with you during the week.
Rapshi, will you be there?
Oh, I will be there. I'm excited.
They haven't told Ian yet. They haven't told Ian yet, Pat. So let's not get ahead of ourselves.
Stop it. I got my reservation. Pat, are you? We're not going to see you there, Pat.
Yeah. Well, the more and more I think about it, maybe we go shake their hands. Maybe we do go shake their hands. I'm trying to mature. I'm in Scotland now. I'm well voyaged. Maybe we try, because it's going to be an electric factory over there. That place is amazing. I can't wait to see, and also who our guest host potentially would be a good thing to be over there. And it's awesome what the NFL has done with the draft. So maybe we go shake their hands and make it happen.
There we go.
Is that breaking news?
It hasn't happened. This is me potentially thinking about it, and obviously the way this will get aggregated in the conversations and the half-truths that'll get pushed out there.
Welcome to my world, Pat. Welcome to my world.
Somebody has to say, you guys are acting ridiculous. And I feel like I've done that. Now, with that being said, don't need to be that guy all the time, but it seems like I am. And I'm almost done with it, especially after eating a Cafe Sono this morning with Fahi and his mom. I realized that there's a lot more important things about life than always having to take a stand. So maybe it's maturity. Maybe it's my daughter. Maybe it's the wife. Maybe it's Cafe Sono this morning. Nonetheless, hoping to get out there. That place is a beautiful city. AP Tone has a question for you, DJ.
Yeah, DJ, I'm fascinated by the conversation you guys were just having. So if say Shedeur doesn't go at 3, could he go at 21 to the Steelers? And I know you had Jackson Dart mocked to 21 at the Steelers. Do you have him mocked there because you actually think he's a first-round quarterback, or you think that he could potentially go in the first round? Because a lot of Steelers fans are saying no way to Jackson Dart at 21, strictly because they just have PTSD from Kenny Pickett going at 20.
Yeah, I understand that. I get that from the Steelers fans' standpoint. My thing was pretty simple on that. I have him right on that borderline of being a first-round graded player. And in a draft where there's a lot of parity and the high side is not as good as some of the other drafts we've seen, I think it's easier to justify that. And then more importantly, I think Jackson Dart, based off where they are now, and we'll see what Aaron does, but as of right now, I think Jackson Dart would have a good chance of winning that job. So to me, he's a better option than what you have on the squad right now. So that's why that one made some sense to me. But I'm curious. When Ian said he thought 3 in the top 15, I'd love to get Ian's take on that one, because to me, if Jackson Dart was going in the top 15, is that New Orleans, or are you talking about maybe a team coming in, from back half of the first round coming up?
Yeah. So no. So first of all, here's what I learned last year. Okay. I mean, look. So we can go through it right now and see who the quarterback teams are going to be. Right. I would say the Raiders at 6 are a team if they slide back. I don't think it's going to be at 6, but I think if they slide back, they could be a team. The Saints potentially if they slide back as well, and I think they would like picks. I would say Colts probably not. Falcons no. Seahawks, could they actually trade up? I mean, obviously they have Darnold, but it's a great contract for him, but they can get out of it after 1 year. I would say that would be another one. The Steelers potentially as well. And then you have some teams sort of in the back. I mean, how long is Matthew Stafford going to play for the Rams? Could they come up? They could F them picks and they come up as well. So everybody gets overdrafted. At this time last year, I knew for a fact that Bo Nix was going to be a second-round quarterback. I told everybody. We knew it for a fact. And he went 12 and then showed that he probably should have gone earlier. Like, everyone gets overdrafted and no one knows anything. So that's sort of my argument.
Penix as well. Especially in quarterback position.
I would have said second rounder, and I could have told you all the reasons, and then he gets in there. First of all, he gets picked in the top 10. Second of all, he gets in there and has an absolute cannon and looks great. I mean,
Kirk Cousins. Is Kirk Cousins going to back up down there, Rap?
I think he is until somebody trades for him.
Until he isn't? Is that where you're going to go with it?
Holy shit. Great news.
Aggregate that. No,
that was really good.
Here's what I could see is, and look, I mean, DJ, you know how, I'll ask you this in a sec, but there's not a ton of surefire, absolute day one starting quarterbacks in this draft. So if someone doesn't get one who maybe thought they were going to get one, all of a sudden Cousins becomes a very interesting trade possibility down the line. DJ, I want to ask you though, today is Cam Ward's, he's going to throw, it's Miami's pro day. It's a little later today. You talked about him as sort of the overwhelming favorite to be the first overall pick. What do you need to see today from Cam Ward?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, I'm at the network right now. That's why you see that fancy.
You're in the green room.
Oh, wow! Whoa!
Hey, tell some of those mid-level execs that there's a chance I'm going to extend the olive branch. There's a chance.
Okay, I will go upstairs.
Tell them great work. Tell them great work setting all that up and everything. Tell them we appreciate them. Tell them they're great at what they. Yeah. Tell them they do. I'm going
to tell them you're going to need some of those rice cakes to make their way to Green Bay, and then try and seal this deal and get Pat back in the mix.
Rice cakes.
I'm currently on keto. No rice cakes. Thank you. I'll take some.
Okay. I got you.
Bar or something.
Yeah. We'll get you like a beef stick. We'll be good. So, to me, at the pro day today, we're covering it from
grab the meat sticks. Sorry, go ahead.
So for the pro day today with Cam Ward, I mean, I really, it's one of those pro days where it's like a proof of life pro day. Just show up, show that you're healthy, hold up a current newspaper. I mean, I don't really need to see anything. Like, the arm strength is excellent. He can make every type of throw. You see every type of throw on video. The things that got him in trouble were being a little too over aggressive and trying to force some things. Cross body throws, kind of some recklessness at times. Like, that was the knock. Well, the pro day is you're not gonna see anything from that standpoint. There's no defense. So to me, this is set up for him to shine. But I don't know that he necessarily has a lot at stake either, because you can see all the good stuff in his tape.
Yeah, I think your conversation about him being able to throw that ball right there is absolutely absurd. His leadership is there. I'm excited that we have a clear favorite at quarterback. I'm excited to watch him kind of take the you stinky into the NFL, especially in a city like Nashville that needs something bad. Go ahead, D-Butt.
Yeah, DJ, we've been talking about kind of I know Ian just mentioned a couple times moving in the draft, and this is the first year, however many years, that all the teams have come in with their own first-round pick. So this is kind of a two-part question. How much movement do you expect on draft day, and what are the deepest position groups in this draft in your position? Obviously, we don't think it's quarterback this year, but who are those position groups that are deep?
Yeah, I would say, first of all, the first part of the question, like, the movement thing is going to be hard, because normally the movement positions are quarterbacks and pass rushers. Well, we don't have a ton of quarterbacks, so if we do see movement, I think it would be at the top of the draft. And then from pass rusher wise, leads to the second part of the question. It's the defensive line is the deepest position in the draft. There's a million of these guys, and it's edge rushers as well as D tackles. It's just a stacked, loaded group where we're going to see, the first round is going to be heavily dominated by defensive linemen, and that's going to carry on into the second round as well. That's kind of where we are with that. I just don't know we're going to see a ton of movement because of that. So, everybody coming in with their picks, it could be kind of a stick and pick draft for the most part. That's at least where we are right now at this point in time in the process, unless, maybe you're a team that, that has an offensive tackle need and you feel like that's a little bit of a shallow pool. Maybe you'd move up a few spots, but I don't know. I'm not anticipating a ton of movement at this point in time.
Go ahead, Ty.
Yeah, DJ, at the start of the draft process, Tet McMillan was, like a top 5 pick. And then as we get closer to the draft here, it seems like the receivers just in general, their stock has gone way down, maybe outside of Golden running how he did at the Combine. Is there a chance that we only get, maybe 1 or 2 receivers in the first round? Or do you think when McMillan goes, whenever that is, I think you have him mocked at 22, that the dam will kind of break and we'll get a run of kind of all these guys who are potentially fringe first-round receivers?
Yeah, I think we're going to get more than 2. Matthew Golden's going to go in the first round. I think when it's all said and done, Ibuka will end up going in the first round. McMillan's going to go in the first round. Grades are a little bit all over the map on him. I never had him up there, throughout the process as a top 5 guy. He was kind of in that, I think maybe 13 to 15 range for me for most of the process. So that's kind of where I've had him. And you talk to teams in the league, some are lower than that, some are a little bit higher than that. I have not talked to anybody that had him as a top 10 guy, throughout the process. So sometimes that can kind of, get out there on the media side of things, but it doesn't necessarily always carry over to the team side of things. But I think those 3 guys go. And I think we'll get another one in there. It wouldn't be surprised if Luther Burden ended up getting in the first round out of Missouri. Iowa State's got 2 really, really talented receivers that there's some buzz and some heat on them. So we'll see what happens there. But there's enough options and enough candidates that I think, we're going to get 3, 4, somewhere in that range.
Do the teams that need to rebuild through the draft, like we just talked about the Bengals, they're going to have a great draft, obviously, in a lot of different positions. Because, at one point, maybe F these picks. And, Rap, what did you mean by that when you said that earlier? What did you mean by that? You said that, F these picks.
So a lot of times F is sort of used in place of a word that I can't say on TV. I mean, I could say it.
Whoa, you better be specific.
It means...
Yeah, but... Amen.
It's a good point.
Connor, what F word are you talking about?
Screw these picks would be another way to say it. Okay. Kids might be watching. My kids might be watching. They're not. They're in school, but they could theoretically be watching.
Yeah, I understand. But I just, whenever you say F word, you make my head say it. So just know that you're saying it, okay? Without saying it.
You're like my Google Translate. Like I say it, and you're in your head goes, hold on, he means, I got it.
Exactly. But these teams that need to transform, allegedly, there's just a lot of depth in this particular draft. There's going to be people looking for more picks that need that. Is that what you're thinking, DJ, in this entirety?
I think in talking to teams that I've talked to, there's an interesting conversation about in trades trying to get picks in next year's draft. And even, going out into the future.
F these picks. So F this draft class is what they're saying.
Well, I mean, yeah, there's some thought to that of this, hey, let's try and get resources. There's some teams that are already loaded up with comp picks next year because of what they lost in free agency. And now if you trade down a little bit, you could be in a pretty good situation with next year's draft. So if we do see movement, I'll go back to the question that D-Bud asked, because if we do see movement, I don't think you're going to have to pay sticker prices on movement. Ian, I would that's the way I would phrase that. If you are going to see movement, I don't know that the prices are going to be super high to move around.
So it's interesting. First of all, I would agree, because it doesn't seem like there's that high end guy who's kind of floating out. I mean, we'll see. But you mentioned the teams looking to get future picks. The Philadelphia Eagles have done as good a job as maybe anyone in a very long time of exploiting teams desperate for picks this year to move up, and they collect future picks like nobody else. So that to them, organizationally, from Jeffrey Lurie all the way down, has been like, this is how we get value. We acquire picks next year because you go, that's second rounder, I'm not going to worry about him next year. Eagles have exploited that. They have collected those and used it to absolutely load up. And so, I think you're right. I think we're going to see the teams that, Eagles, Ravens, teams that are perennially good, collect picks for future to be like, we'll take him because you need this guy and we don't.
Yeah, Bradley Cooper knows what he's doing over there in Philadelphia.
He and I got a good selfie at the Super Bowl. By the way.
Somehow they just, after he gave the motivational speech to go win the Super Bowl, it's unbelievable what they've been able to do with that roster transformation, with how much money they've paid everybody, and then they still pay Saquon, top of the class, 3 years in advance. It's like if Philadelphia's able to continue to win, that'll be absolutely bananas. Connor has the last question for you here, DJ. We appreciate you.
Yeah, DJ, obviously the Patriots don't need a quarterback because Drake May is a future Hall of Famer. But in this scenario where Travis Hunter and Abdul Carter go, 1 or 2 and 3 back to back, and then, Shador being that other pick, obviously the Patriots aren't going there. Elliot Wolf actually came out and mentioned, hey, we're in a spot now because of free agency where we don't have to take biggest need. We can take, best available with, Hunter and Abdul gone. Is the next best available like Ashton Ginty? Like, is there a world where that's who New England goes with? Because, you have Will Campbell going 10 and he wouldn't be considered next best available.
Yeah, I would say it. If you don't get Abdul Carter or Travis Hunter, I would add a little line to the end of best available. I would say best available player that can help your quarterback. So I would be looking on the offensive side of the ball, and Ashton Ginty, I have him as I think the number 3 player in the draft. So if you're just going pure best available player, it'd be Ginty, and if you're obviously looking on the offensive side of the ball, he's he would be the guy there from the offensive side of the ball standpoint. Yeah. So I just feel like that's got to help. Unless you can get Abdul Carter, like somehow Abdul Carter gets there, I get it. But man, like if you draft Travis Hunter, you play him at receiver. He helps Drake May. This first pick after a defensive heavy free agency, it just feels like, man, this has got to be a pick that's going to help Drake May.
You think? I'm sorry to interrupt. You think that Travis Hunter at 4 to the Patriots playing receiver makes sense value wise? That's pretty interesting.
I would. I think he's dynamic. I think he'd be their most dynamic weapon on offense, and I think they would have a lot of fun watching those two guys, quarterback and receiver, kind of grow up together. I would be excited about that if I were a Patriot fan, and somehow Travis Hunter would be there, and I would be interested when they say Travis Hunter. The Patriots select from Colorado Travis Hunter. Yeah! I would be listening though to say, is it wide receiver? Football player. Is it corner? Is it combo? Like, how are you going to write that on the card? Because the team does get to decide how that's going to be announced. I would be curious. That to me, that would be wide receiver / corner, not the other way around. If you're the Patriots,
dog. He had the dog on his chest.
He did.
You're right. Could be dog. Could be ATH. Yep. Could be WR/CB. I mean, there's a lot of things.
Pat.
Go ahead.
Pat, real quick. You guys brought Ian into the studio. Do you have to pay for security for him, or how does that work?
Nah, he's so little, he just kind of like squeaks by. People are looking for him. They just can't, find him. And that's a gift and a curse.
Stay out of the coffee shops.
Bingo. 22A or B, he's able to fly in. He can get comfortable.
Yep.
And at Starbucks, whenever the owner's kid walks in, he's able to kind of weasel on out of there, which is good news.
Like Ashton Ginty. He's like the Ashton Ginty of insiders. Just kind of make you miss, bounce off, get out of there.
Yeah, and Jordo Schultz is Joe Alt.
That's what he looked like in that photo. Hey, DJ, we appreciate the hell out of you, buddy.
All right, see you, boys.
Thanks, dude.
How was the Big 12 Pro Day? Oh,
it was fantastic. We had a great time. Yeah. I thought you besmirched it a little bit at the end of our interview, but it was fun. We had a good time.
I don't love that West Virginia doesn't have their own Pro Day. Okay, I don't.
I know. I gathered that. I
don't love that. Once again, we need to get back to having our own Pro Day, but I like that the Big 12 comes together and does their thing. Just like we appreciate the hell out of NFL Network's finest joining us, ladies and gentlemen, Daniel Jeremiah.
Yay!
You mean finest, except obviously
Rich Eisen.
Rich does a great job.
Wait, is it still NFL Network or?
It is still
Raph, tell us what you're hearing, brother, because this has been rumored for like 2 years now, hasn't it? It's kind of been a rumor. It's kind of like at one point, allegedly, there was a deal done where Disney, ESPN was going to purchase NFL platforms, and then NFL Plus was added into play a little bit. Might be able to get a little bit more on the digital side, maybe the direct-to-consumer line with NFL Plus. What are you hearing about NFL media? Because this has literally been like 2 years of talks, and then another report hits the internet last week. What are you hearing?
Yeah, my attention was slightly divided last week, so I didn't get to fully listen to the podcast, which I'm definitely going to subscribe to it when I can figure out how to do it. Here's my problem is I am such a gossip that no one tells me anything because they think I'll just tell everyone.
Sure.
Which is actually generally true. So I don't have
valid.
I don't have great intel. What is that? I'm a huge follower of cordcuttersnews.com or whatever. If this is what our people think is best for everyone, I will fully support it. I have literally no idea if it's going to happen. I'm sure it would be great if it did, but I'm kind of like you. Like if it happens, if it's real, then I think if that's what they want, I'm good with it. But I have no idea.
There's just so many rumors about it, because it would be a huge price. I mean, that would be a hefty number, especially to take over the NFL's media. And then if you were to take over NFL Network, and I understand the way NFL Network operates more so now than maybe ever before in the past. And certainly interesting, but it is the best league or best network that a league has, the NFL Network. And I think you're a massive piece of that, Rap. You should be incredibly proud of the work that you've done over there, and Rich and Mooch and everybody, and Kurt and, I don't want to go through a list of people that I've appreciated their time on NFL Network, but the NFL Network is definitely the league's best network whenever it comes to all the leagues. But this has been rumored for years now. And allegedly there was a deal done, and then it went back to a group of people on both sides, and then that was kind of thrown away. And then there's been, it's a lot. It's all a lot, but
we'll see.
As long as we're able to see the game that we love in the league that we love in more ways, I think we'll all be very appreciative for it. But are you guys operating as if you are for sale over there at NFL Network? Is that kind of day to day? Anybody could be the new owners?
I am operating as if I only focus on what I have to do. So I have no idea.
Smart.
Do your job.
It is not to speak for. Yeah, I mean literally do my job, but not to speak for everyone. But I would say the only way to do this, and it's interesting because it's a little bit like a player whose sort of name is in trade talks. It's either you can become obsessed by it and it'll just eat you up, which doesn't feel like it's the case with the people I work with, or just kind of do the absolute best you can, roll with it, and if it happens, we'll all adjust. But I feel like psyche and mindset are pretty good, really good.
Okay, good. Happy to hear that. It's good. It's, the NFL having a deal with ESPN more so than just Monday Night Football, and then obviously what we do day to day, and everybody does day to day coverage of the NFL would be cool. And obviously the people at ESPN would want to continue to grow sport and grow league. So I'd be excited to see what would be next. Hey, Conman, college sports happening this weekend, not just college basketball. There was some magic. There's some magic in some college sports, brother. I look down here and I see one glorious lad, one Canadian glorious man in Robert Roode. What happened in college ball this weekend?
Yeah, the glorious Bobby Roode has a boy, Pat, and let me tell you about this boy. He scored a game winner, Nick Roode, for the Michigan Wolverines against the #1 team in the country, the Maryland Terrapins. Third overtime, cuts down the slot, little goal, basically making Michigan's season. I believe this put them back into the top 25 of men's college lacrosse. But if we're talking college lacrosse, especially on the men's side, I'd be remiss if I did not say that the Fairfield Stags, yes, those Fairfield Stags in Connecticut are the only remaining unbeaten team. They are 9-0. They are absolutely rolling right now. A couple different sites have them ranked in between 12 and 15. Because I saw them at 12, I'm going to say, yes, they are the 12th team in the country right now. But men's college lacrosse kind of taking over here, boys. Once March Madness ends, we had Matt Madness, which also was electrics, but once that ends, it is kind of college lacrosse season. So look out for, Fairfield men's lags. But yeah, Nick Roode kind of stole the show this weekend, beating the Maryland Terps, Pat.
Shout out to Nick Roode. I got to meet him a few weeks back at a Monday Night Raw, and obviously I'm a massive fan of his father. He wasn't necessarily thrilled about the entire Canada Pat McAfee situation that was brewing because he is obviously a proud Canadian, but I'm happy for Roode and the Michigan Wolverines. Notre Dame still got a good squad in lacrosse, I assume?
Yeah, they're still playing. They're still playing well. Chris Kavanaugh is still one of the best players in the country. I would look for them to be around in the end as well.
Okay, let's continue with college athletics. You mentioned it there, Matt Madness. And obviously, every single year that we've gotten a chance to watch the Matt Madness, we thought to ourselves, damn, they need to move this before March Madness, leading in to March Madness, because it is electrifying. The arena's roof gets blown off multiple times, showcasing the best of the best. A man who's no stranger to the national championship for the NCAA, former national champion, former Olympic gold medalist, former WWE superstar. Ladies and gentlemen, joining us now, Gable Steveson.
Yeah, Gable.
Pat, how you doing?
Gable, good. Hey, I'm great. Thank you so much for joining us. And obviously, I've gotten a chance to get to know you over the years. And with what happened this weekend, I didn't know if you would be open to joining us or not open to joining us. Then I watched you next to Hendrickson whenever he was up on the podium, and you kind of gave him a pat on the back. Is there a sense of relief that the season's over? Is there a sense of disappointment? Because obviously the way it went, they're talking about it being the biggest upset in the history. And the reason why it's the biggest upset is because of how damn great you have been as a Minnesota Gopher and a wrestler. Where's your headspace at, and what are your thoughts on everything that kind of transpired this past weekend?
Man, I'm not happy with the results that happened this past weekend, but it's a blessing to go out there in front of the crowd, in front of the biggest stage, and since leaving in 2022, I've always wanted to go out there and give one last good push for the University of Minnesota, and so that's what I try to do. I try to make things as big as possible, and I love the show. I love going out there and feeling the jitters, having your heart race, and having a great opponent across for you, and it's win or loss. The road doesn't end for me, and I keep going forward.
Okay, so what is next for you, Gable? Obviously, I saw some haters. Anytime you're a superstar and you're dominant like you have been in the modern world, there's going to be people that are haters. This guy couldn't even make an NFL team. This guy, he didn't even play football. He can't make an NFL team in his first try. Okay. And then you have all this success, and you still choose the hard road, and you make it all the way back to the national championship, which is why I respect you. Your work ethic is awesome. You're an absolute dog. Nothing you've done has been easy. What is next for you? Have you thought about that, or kind of where are you at right now whenever you look at tomorrow as opposed to what yesterday was?
Oh man, the sun always comes up the next day. That's a saying that everyone's always talked about. But what's next for me is I've been boxing, I've been putting on the gloves, doing jiu-jitsu classes, trying to get ready for an MMA career. Or right after I stepped off the mat Saturday night, just a couple calls from a few new teams in the NFL, and just the roads keep opening, and I'm just so happy that I can go out there and put on my best performance. Win or lose, like I said, I'm always a showman. I go out there and I turn the crowd up, I show love, and if a guy gets his hand raised across from me, it's respect as always. And so the doors are still opening, and I'm just so happy where I am today and where the future is going to take me.
I like the way you operate, man. You've been kind to everybody that I've seen you interact with, and the way you were gracious in that situation, especially with the way that the reaction was like, oh my God, Gable Steveson has been toppled. Like the way Daniel Cormier, I don't know if you watch it back and if you ever will, like the reaction was stunned by everybody. Yes. And the way you handled it when you could have gone the other way, nothing short of fucking awesome, brother. You need to know that, and can't wait to see what you do next. Rap Sheet has a question for you, Gable.
Gable, you mentioned your time in the NFL. You mentioned some teams called. By the way, first of all, if you sign, please make sure I get the scoop, which I think would be great.
I got you.
Just being real. Hit me up. I'll send you my number. Anyway, you had some experience with the Bills. You have seen wrestlers really thrive, especially in the offensive line. Stephen Neal with the Patriots. I know Zach Frazier with the Steelers is a dog. What is it about wrestling that translates so well to, I guess, all positions, but specifically the offensive lineman?
Just the offensive line and defensive line too. You go out there and it's a one-on-one battle with the guy in front of you. And just growing up wrestling, you look at a guy across from you and it's just like you go out there and you want to kill. And so that's just what it's about. It's the trenches. It's gonna be hard. It's gonna be desperation to get to the quarterback, or it's desperation to not let the D line get to the quarterback. So whatever position I can get in at, I'll be grateful. I'll be thankful. And when I was in Buffalo, I put my best shoes on. A lot of people don't know that was my first time ever playing football and first time I ever put on cleats.
Yeah.
Wow. Von Miller and the guys had to put on. Von Miller had to help me put on my pads and strap them because I had no clue how to put them on the first day of camp. Wow. So I appreciate Von Miller for that. But
but you weren't able to make it. You weren't able to make it. Yeah, the guy didn't even know how to strap on fucking pads.
Yeah.
Pat, we got this. Me and my strength coach Scott, we got this saying, man. A lot of people say a lot of things, but they just talking the talk. But we're out there walking the walk and doing the best we can in our life and everybody else's life too, just to make sure everybody can see a great show for me and see the next path that I take.
Yeah, I love that. That's a great quote, and obviously that's going to continue for the rest of your life. You become a superstar at a very young age. D-Bud has a question for you, Gable.
Yeah, talking about what's next. You talked about MMA. Do you already have a trainer? Do you already have a regimen in mind going into that next step? That's a completely different avenue. You've done it before, but what pieces have you already put in place?
Just making sure I can get my hands certified and ready. Just making sure that I can see punches coming and make sure that I'm comfortable in the cage and comfortable with guys in front of me that are going to be throwing these huge haymakers and getting in and getting out the way. So, I mean, I got a great mentor right now. I hope a lot of people know a guy named John Jones. Just a fantastic dude and the greatest fighter of all time. He's pretty damn good, you know. He's pretty damn good. So, man, I appreciate his efforts of trying to lead me into the right direction and kind of taking my back and kind of giving me the direction I need. And, you know, I'm really young and he's been there and he's done that before. So it's, I'm really appreciative of how he's kind of walked my steps leading into this next chapter, if that's what it is.
Okay. So amateur wrestling, obviously they tried to kill it a few years back. I think whenever it wasn't an Olympic sport anymore, the entire wrestling community came out and said that's not real. And then we watch Matt Madness every single year. It is electrifying. We think the sport is obviously very healthy, but whenever it goes from amateur wrestling, the professional step next is either WWE, which you had obviously been around a few different times, or you get into mixed martial arts and UFC. Have you already talked to Dana? Have you already had those conversations? And how long have you been preparing potentially for a life in the cage after wrestling, knowing that that is one very viable professional outlet for good amateur wrestlers?
I think that's the best outlet for amateur wrestlers overall. And I think I've not spoken to Dana personally. That's one meeting that I would love to have face to face. You know, I've been waiting a long time to see him. I know after the 2021 Olympics, he reached out to me and wanted me to come see him in Vegas and everything else. And so that's one meeting that I would love to have and love to see. So if I can get in front of his face and really pitch who I am and pitch who he can see and who I will be, I think that'll be the greatest thing.
See you tomorrow. Perfect out on you, Gable. Maybe you get into TV. You saw the countdown right there. We are still live on YouTube. Great work out of you. Good time. Hey, perfect time.
TV magic.
We're still live on
I've been on the block a little times. I can see.
yeah, I've been a superstar a long time. We're on ESPN Plus, YouTube, Disney Plus, and TikTok Live. Still talking to Gable Steveson, obviously. Would be pumped to watch you in the ring. The jiu-jitsu is the thing, right? Isn't that kind of the thing? Like, because those motherfuckers can break both your arms at the same time. And that kind of the
legs, they break your legs, your kneecaps, your elbows, your arms, and all that. So hey, just try to jump out the way if you can. But it's gonna be tough. But yo, I've always you know me for a long time. I've always been up for the battle. What if it was good or if it was bad. If people doubted and you know they're always gonna doubt. But I've been here before, and this is nothing new.
That's awesome, Gable. Connor has a question for you, brother.
Yeah, Gable, as far as environments go, how was it yesterday? You know, obviously the president was there, but then you're still looking around and, you know, there's a lot of history made. I believe one of the Penn State wrestlers became a 5-time national champion as well. What was the environment like in that place all day yesterday?
Crazy. Philly showed up for Matt Madness. Carter Starachi, a 5-time national champion, probably going to go down as the greatest NCAA wrestler of all time. I get to go out there in front of Trump, in front of Elon Musk and everybody else and go out there and showcase a great matchup. And that's what we want. And that's what wrestling needs. Wrestling needs to grow. Wrestling needs that spotlight for guys like myself, Wyatt Hendrickson, Carter Starachi, and so many other guys to go out there and put on good performances. And like I said before, win or lose, I've always been that showman and I've always wanted to show the crowd who I am and leave that lasting legacy of who is Gable to the casual viewer that is watching on ESPN that has never heard of me before.
I wasn't paying attention close enough whenever they were doing the commentary because the moment was so gigantic. Had you wrestled Hendrickson before? Did you guys know each other very well? And when he shoots at the end there, you were, hey, when he shoots and gets your leg, you know you're fucked there? Like, when do you, like, legitimately, take me into your mind a little bit.
Nah, I mean, I'm a great counter score wrestler. And so when he got to my legs, you can kind of get a sense that you might be fucked, but you're not fucked fully. So
got it. Yeah.
So you know, you're in between of halfway of like, gosh, am I gonna get fucked or am I about to? So I mean, you get the sense of like, okay, it's about to happen. And so I get taken down with 20 seconds left. I'm looking at the clock like, gosh, I got to get up. But you know, in wrestling, if you've been around wrestling and you know, starting in the parterre position and getting taken down and having to build up from the stomach is a lot harder because guys can hang on. You don't have to start in the regular position. So, man, I'm getting full weight on top of me. I'm trying to build up, and it just wasn't my time. And I'm cool with that. And there's nothing wrong with not having your time and not having your day, because I feel that out of all the other times that I probably could have pulled it off, but that day just wasn't my day. And it happens.
Yeah. Anytime you're going into a gladiator-like sport, you're exposing yourself, obviously, in front of millions, hundreds of thousands of people watching it, and every once in a while, you're going to get caught. You've only lost 3 matches. I mean, your records are absurd. That's why when I was reading the shit on the internet of people like celebrating your loss, I'm like, let's not forget here. The reason why this is such a big thing is because of how damn dominant you have been. Tell me about Hendrickson, though, a little bit. Obviously, you have massive respect for him, and you have to have respect for every one of your opponents. But tell me about him as a wrestler, because if I go back to the Olympic gold medal, you wrestled a big dude, too, right? Dude that was bigger than you, I think, and you ended up getting a win.
Yeah,
tell me
got
about
about
Hendrickson looked bigger than you. Go ahead.
Keep going. You can.
I was going to say, it felt like the same situation there. He was a little bigger. It looked like he was a little bit bigger than you, maybe.
Yeah, he was just a little bigger, but, it's a gladiator sport. You want to go out there and fight. You want to go out there and battle. And that day was not my day to win the battle. And there's nothing. They're always, at the end of the day, I think people were going to get a reaction, and we're waiting for a reaction of me to act in a negative way towards the crowd and towards Hendrickson and bring out a different side of me. But we go toe to toe. We put it on the line, and a lot of people are going to say a lot of things about, hey, he lost. But what I've done for wrestling, I think, is unimaginable. I've been out there and won Olympic golds in the last second. I've won 2 Dan Hodge trophies at heavyweight, which no one else has ever done. 2 national titles, 3-time in the finals, 5-time All-American. My resume stands for itself, and I could probably keep going on it, but a quick search can help that out. So, I mean, like we talked about, it wasn't the day. And that happens. It's a gladiator sport, and I'm a warrior.
Well, Gable, that's why I wanted to kind of follow up and ask, because I'm kind of, your comeback, which has been one of the cooler stories in college wrestling that we've seen. You lost at the end, but you don't sound like you lost. I'm wondering, at the end of all this, considering where you came from, what you've been through, the different things, coming back to the top and the brink, do you consider it a success, or are you like, it would have been a success? Because, like, how do you view this entire climb and the way it ended up?
Man, that's a great question. I woke up today. It's crazy. Oh yeah, it's crazy. Like I think for a long time now, I've been like, damn, like I get to wake up. I get to, like, I have a home. I have a house. Like, I get to eat like good food. I get to see the world. I get to go places that nobody may ever see. And I think a lot of people were expecting just a really bad reaction from me. But at the end of the day, like, I've done so many great things. I've met so many great people. I've been in so many great places, and that I'll never take that for granted. And that's why, that was the main reason why I wanted to come back to University of Minnesota after leaving in 2022, was I wanted these kids to see that you can be something special. Whether you win or lose, you can change the sport. You can be a guy that people want to look at and take pictures with and hang out with after the duels and after the matches. So it's not the end of the world for me. Like I said, the sun is shining right now. I'm happy to see that. The skin is glowing. I'm smiling. The teeth look good, and I'm ready to be here.
Yeah, they certainly do. And the resume is packed, and we can't wait to see what you do next. Thank you for taking the time, and thank you for doing to wrestling what you did, man. You're the best.
No, I appreciate you, Pat. Thank you. Everyone else, I appreciate y'all.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, we appreciate you. Ladies and gentlemen, Gable Steveson.
Gable.
So cool, man.
Friend of the program, Gable. Friend of the program, Gable Steveson. He, that was so fascinating to watch. And obviously that's a reaction, that you're going to get, especially when you have that much success and you're that notable and you're that known, especially in that heart of a sport. Like, that's my big takeaway. He goes, after his resume is already made, already created. He's already rich. He's got NIL deals. Everything's already been talked about. Then he goes back, chooses to go back, and like day-to-day of wrestling is miserable. Like, that is just, it is miserable. It is so hard. They were showing clips of him just running laps in the wrestling mats in Minnesota. It's like, that guy's already a millionaire. He's already successful. He's running around with these college kids still just like going all the way back in because he still had eligibility. I got massive respect for his work ethic, and I believe Hendrickson will be joining us at some point this week as well to talk about his win over Gable. But Matt Madness is electrifying. You find yourself watching, and there hasn't been as many because I think it's because the underdogs haven't really continued to go. There hasn't been as many just like blowouts. There's been a lot of games that like you kind of are sticking around. There's some games obviously over early, you can tell. But whenever there's bad game, we were able to hop over to Matt Madness the last couple of years. It's fucking electrifying. They need to move that to the lead up to March Madness.
Have you ever been, like, I was just thinking for me, like, I have 3 sporting events that I've never been to that I would die to go to. Masters, obviously, 1. College World Series in Omaha, 2. When I covered Mississippi State and Alabama, they never went, which is annoying. Matt Madness, to me, is up there because it seems unbelievable in the building. And, like, I have, like, my oldest son, Max, did wrestle, and we have talked about going. Like, that, I think that event would be live, in person, would be absolutely insane.
Yeah, I agree. There's also that cheese chase that happens over here in Europe. We'd like to see you be a part of, Rap. We'd like to see you be a part of.
Roll down the hill, is that
you
one?
do that, Rap.
I've seen the Netflix on that. It's count me out.
What country is that in, Rap Sheet?
Switzerland.
Switzerland, yeah.
Sure.
Germany? Is it
You're a
Germany?
scumbag, dude. They're not all the same.
I've been to some of those places, by the way.
Bag of bones.
I'm sure you have. They didn't want you there. They were happy you left. Especially if you ever come here to Scotland. I don't think they're going to treat you too kindly. With that being said, I have to go roll and do my thing. Rappaport, if you could please wrap up this show in a epic fashion, I'd be grateful.
I got you. It's been fun.
Boys, I'll see you tomorrow. Boys, I will see you tomorrow.
Oh, yeah.
Good show, bro.
Crush today, brother.
Thank you. Rappaport, thank you so much for traveling over there. I will see you next time. Thank you for taking the time for the boys. Man. I'm going to go do my thing. This is going to be a beautiful time here in Glasgow. These fans are pretty pretty insane.
What building? Like what is usually in that building you're at?
So this is the Ovo Hydro, 10,000 plus. I don't know the exact number. They do all the good stuff here. They do all the good stuff. So much good stuff here. So much good stuff. It's almost hard to list it all out because there's so much good stuff. Like if these seats could talk, it would say so much good stuff. And that's what I'm expecting tonight. Is going to be awesome. Very, very updated arena. Like the seats are very nice. In the back, very nice. Like it is very clean. I don't know how many events happen here, but I will say it is wonderful. And these European crowds are insane. Rap. That's kind of the thing. It's my first European WWE show. Not just they take their soccer energy and their hooligan energy into wrestling. So they sing. They understand that the fans in wrestling really matter.
Oh, that's cool.
So like I've only got to watch European WWE shows like basically my whole life. As of late, they've been coming over here more. Wasn't able to get to Belgium because it was the day after Selection Sunday for March Madness, and there's a lot going on. We had a lot of coaches joining us. So this is my first European show. I am very, very pumped to be in the building and feel these fans because they are a massive part of the show, and these motherfuckers are wild. And today should be no different. I can't wait for it. I appreciate the hell out of you boys. I'll see you tomorrow, okay?
Oh, yeah.
Man. Good luck.
See you, boys. See you, boys.
Have you guys ever been? You've been to soccer games over there, right?
No.
Of course not.
None of you guys?
No, hell no.
Actually?
I mean, we're a big soccer show, but no.
Are we a big soccer show?
No.
Maybe.
Gumpy, maybe he's been over there.
No, I've never been, only games in the U.S.
Rapture, what did you think about Cena's heel turn in the promo he cut last week?
What'd you think?
I know all about it, obviously.
Jeez,
no, I saw the memes. I saw
the
memes. Everyone sent it to me in varying fashions.
Okay.
I couldn't believe that he
stunned.
Turned heel.
It was shocker.
Just sad.
Yeah. I took down all my posters.
Oh,
sure.
Figured that.
Makes
which
sense.
I think was too bad.
Max and Jude just tearing each other apart.
Man, when they came to WrestleMania with me, they could not have loved wrestling more.
Oh yeah.
Oh, it's infectious.
I mean, and because obviously they love you guys and they love Pat, and so they've watched his match like a million times in my house, and they are, yeah.
What state do you send them to for school?
What's that place called? Is it Bivouac? Is that what it's
we know
called?
you send them away for the summer
I send them away for the summer, not for school. Although some people do that.
I know.
Mm-hmm.
One of my neighbors actually is from one of those other countries, and he went to school starting at like 7. It's like sleepaway school. Like that's what they.
Boarding school, very legit.
7?
Oh yeah.
AM or
in the Northeast? Bjorn Werner. He wasn't 7, but he came over, at 14, 15 years old?
That's so crazy.
And he went that's like very common. Prep school, private school, Northeast. I went to...
states away.
Oh, I went to countries. I went to school with a kid who was from Mexico City. High school.
I had a foreign exchange. We had a foreign exchange.
They say Kim Jong-un went to a high school in Switzerland.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Learn something new every day.
Yeah.
I mean, it seems insane now. I mean, people will say it's insane when I do it to my kids, send them away for 7 weeks. So I don't know if everyone's down for that, but I justify that. I think it's awesome for them. School seems like sending away for the whole year seems different. No, I was saying for soccer though, like what Pat's talking about with like their energy, they do not. Nobody has conversations in soccer games. You sit next to you cheer, and that is it. And then you also, when it's halftime, you go drink your face off, like as much as you can at halftime. Then you come back.
Yeah, because you can't drink in the seats.
Yeah,
that's stupid.
Stupid.
I mean, soccer is, but just that in general is stupid.
Yeah,
that's wild.
I may or may not have tickets to the Dortmund soccer game that is going to happen. I think in MetLife in the summer.
Yeah, they always do that. They always do that tour. Yeah,
I'm really
all the
excited.
good guys always play in those ones
I'm really
too,
excited.
right?
Marco Royce.
Sure.
I believe they sent a Swiss
I have a
jersey
Marco
here.
Royce jersey. I don't think he still plays for them, but
He does.
Plays for LAFC or LA Galaxy now.
Does he?
Yeah.
I think I remember.
There you
I've actually
Face
been
of the
following
league.
extremely closely. But yeah, it is. Anyway, all right.
Dortmund's doing well in the Champions League.
Are they doing
actually.
well?
Yeah.
We don't care.
Not in the league, in the Champions League. Take it easy, F1.
Yeah, coming from the F1 guy.
Exactly. I
told you I was the fakest F1 guy.
I respect that though. You
I
watch
watch my Netflix.
You're
and
going to Montreal. You're going to the Canadian one, right?
We're thinking about like the guys I was in Montana with. We're discussing maybe going to a little Montreal.
Ooh,
F1.
boys trip to Montreal.
I got to connect you with Gabe Rece.
Don't tell
Yeah.
Mrs. Sheet.
Yeah.
I've heard what
Miss
goes
Sheet
on.
ain't
up
gonna
there.
be happy.
Yeah.
She's not going to be thrilled. We have not actually. Hopefully, she's not watching because I have not mentioned the
Too
story yet. But we'll see. No, she went on a girls' trip to Montana. The same thing. So the girls go
okay,
on a
I like
trip
that.
and then the boys. Go.
Oh, okay. All right.
Seems fair.
Kind of a double whammy.
Yeah, exactly. All right, good stuff. I want to go back to what our good friend Daniel Jeremiah was talking about.
Okay.
Which
Because
is?
I like football, and I want to talk about football.
Sure.
Okay.
Which is the quarterback landscape,
Yeah.
right? Because we obviously talked about Aaron Rodgers. We talked about where he's going, which I think the Steelers sort of seem like the most likely choice at this point, although the Giants have certainly not ruled out.
He hasn't visited them.
Has not visited the Giants, which I don't know that really matters.
He's
agree.
never been to MetLife.
He's not going to like competing with Jameis.
No, he's not.
Okay.
It is. I'm going through it in my head, and the reaction to Jameis signing with the Giants was so weird to me. Like,
Well, he's a starter.
I think people maybe didn't watch last year.
What are you talking about?
He got beat out, like he got benched, right? Is this the same guy?
Listen, let's not judge what happens in Cleveland about what happened. Because also, remember, Joe Flacco led them to the playoffs, was one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL for that 10-game stretch. And then they said, see you later. So that could happen.
And everyone was loving Denver's defense. What did J-Mo do? Oh, he just put up a casual 40 on them.
I don't understand how that could be the same guy who was not good
And
enough
is
to stay in the
DTR,
field
like,
last year.
DTR, sorry, he's a great young kid, but like, they benched him for him. And
they traded
And they
his
traded
ass.
him.
Yeah.
And then
So,
traded him
let's-
for Kenny Pickett.
They couldn't let Jameis start because they knew what would happen. Hey, this guy's going to take the starting quarterback job. He's never going to look back. And we're paying another guy fucking $800 million. So we need to make sure he's out there.
No, I was thinking back to it was the 5-year anniversary of Brady signing in Tampa this week,
yeah.
right?
Aaron
And
should-
5 years already.
I mean, which also was like that was early COVID, so I remember Brady couldn't get a physical, had to go to like New York or something like that to get the whole thing was crazy. But I was reminded, you talk about like the NFL revisionist or like, you know, going back to sort of like sliding door what if. Do you guys remember that the Bucs offered Jameis a contract around the time in Mobile because he was going to be a free agent? He didn't accept, and then they pivoted to Brady.
No, I did not.
Like literally
Was
offered
this
him a
after
deal.
his 30-30 year?
This was right. I think it was either pre-LASIK or right when he got LASIK, and that was going to fix everything, which it has not.
Whoa.
Had Jameis
That sounded
accepted
like
the
you love
contract,
Jameis.
I have like it's kind of like I don't know. The NFL, like what might have happened had that sliding door closed for the Bucs is like I don't know. That's what I found myself thinking.
Brady playing with Vrabel in Tennessee, maybe. Because who was it? It was Darlington when I remember on ESPN they had like a whole entire board, and it was like Tennessee was one of the teams. There's one other, I don't know why I can't remember it, and then Darlington actually.
I think it was weren't the Chargers in on it?
Yeah, it
right?
might have been.
I think they also made an offer.
Because that's when Phillip Rivers left, and then
Right.
Darlington grabbed the pen and he went over and wrote on the LED board like Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and that's I assume that was probably around the time that Jameis kind of slid out, and then Tampa won a Super Bowl.
Wow. Yeah, and Brady held up 4 fingers, and people didn't know what down it was.
Against the Bears. Nick Foles.
Very down.
Thursday Night Football.
Nick Foles was the starter then
for the Bears. Yeah.
He refused to shake his hand for that game too.
Oh my God, that's right.
It's crazy.
I respect the pettiness so absolutely much.
The NFL's best. I wish someone did the entire theory last year where like they shouldn't release free agent reports, and then week 1 you find out where all these new players go. Like, that's the one rule I would want to impose.
That would be sick.
Wait,
It'd
hold
be
on.
Sweet.
Hold on.
So you wouldn't know where free agents sign. You wouldn't know off-season trades. You wouldn't know anything. And then week 1 of the NFL season,
would suck for you. But.
Boom. Yeah, your job gets completely eliminated.
We turn the TV.
You're
on,
fired.
and we're like, holy shit! Rodgers is on the Steelers now.
DK. He's throwing to DK.
Metcalf they traded for.
Is George Pickens going to be part of that wide receiver core?
I think he is.
Okay.
If they, it's not. I want to be careful about the aggregators because I'm aware of, but I would say it's not 100%.
Okay.
Because there's always a little bit of like, first of all, like let's say they don't sign Rodgers and it's
Mace Dog.
Yeah, like George Pickens going to be that happy? I don't know.
Probably loves Mace.
He loves Mace.
Does he?
Mm-hmm. Big fan of Mace.
Okay.
Although Pickens did say the one guy he'd want to play with is Aaron Rodgers.
He did say that too.
I mean, those two should be together. If
That's
George
true.
Pickens is like,
That's
if George
real?
Pickens
Yes,
is,
That's really someone asked him one teammate you could have, and
This was years ago.
was years ago.
Oh, wait,
and
actually-
he said
oh,
Aaron
oh, oh.
Rodgers. Yeah,
Yeah.
might get it. Might get it.
Been pretty cool, man.
It's so the angst around Rodgers. I find it so hilarious. Like Pat sort of alluded to it a little bit. It's like everyone's like, "Why won't you make a decision?" And I'm kind of like, "What are we going to talk about when he makes a decision?" Like,
True.
just
It's all draft. He's the last thing, and then it's all draft.
and Russ. What do you mean?
No one
Does
gives a
anybody
fuck.
feels like nobody wants Russ?
Yeah,
No.
you said you're like that contract is gonna be yikes.
Tiny.
Yeah.
I mean,
That speaks to how much people care.
Now, did I want him to be the Steelers quarterback again this year? No.
did you want him last year?
I talked myself into it.
You did.
But he didn't. I don't think he played bad enough to get kind of how he's being treated right.
Sorry,
Who you
my
got?
wife just texted me. I guess she is watching.
Oh, I thought that face.
Bye
was
bye,
like,
Montreal.
Oh, you going up there?
Yeah, sorry.
I thought that was a breaking news face.
It's worse. She says you're going nowhere.
Bingo.
Yeah. there
Sorry.
you go.
Not.
Man, good run for you, though.
okay.
Hope you enjoy Montana. She
You know what I really need.
going anywhere.
It's not as I told her very nicely, it's not a quid pro quo, but I want her to go on all the girls' trips she possibly can because I want her to enjoy herself and have a great time with her friends.
Well, and you guys get that cool 8 weeks, like we talked about, where you send the kids away. Like you guys get to do anything.
We have to plan it this year. We got to get on. We've been a little busy. We have to figure out where we're going. It's a whole.
You went
Go to
Europe.
Ireland.
You went to Europe last year, right?
Oh, now she's texting me again. Yeah, went to Europe last year. I learned all the different countries that Pat was talking about.
Of course you did. You did a great job with that. Some we have had this offseason, though, some record-breaking contracts, market-changing contracts. Myles Garrett, Derek Stingley, Jamar Chase. Now they all kind of reset the market. Can we expect any other big-time extensions before the draft?
Before the draft, I don't know. Talk about the Steelers, right? Look, TJ Watt's got a year left. I know getting something done with him is something that the Steelers want to do. I mean, that's a guy, you want to make sure he's around till the end of time. So, like, could he become the next to eclipse 40? I think he could.
Wow.
Okay.
I think he could.
With Pittsburgh?
With Pittsburgh. Because if you're TJ Watt, like, why would you sign unless it's, like, if you're as good as Myles Garrett, and I think he is.
No doubt.
Then that's what he should be getting.
Is that the consensus around the people that you speak to, that he's in that same? I know a lot of people see him, 1A, 1B maybe, and some people that I've talked to may see Myles Garrett as clearly the top guy at this point in the game.
Football people.
Yeah.
Numbers would suggest otherwise. But
Well, I mean, numbers, numbers are numbers.
numbers don't lie.
To me, it's 1A and 1. Like,
Okay.
I think they're at least comparable, certainly just as decorated. But I think the problem is if you're TJ Watt, and let's say you accept a contract that's $35 million a year. Great deal.
28.
Going to be rich, whatever it is, right? But then everyone's going to know that you're a bit lower. Like, it really does sort of set where you are as far as, like, in the hierarchy. If
Newer
you're
numbers.
TJ Watt, like, why would you not, like, you want higher so everyone knows
You're the best.
Numbers do matter when it comes to contracts, for sure. I think. I've never been in a negotiation, but what about Micah?
Micah's going to be higher.
Yeah, see, Michael's younger, too.
Oh, yeah, so like 6 years younger.
How old is TJ Watt compared to Miles?
31. I think they're the same age.
Okay,
Miles 29, but it'll be
30. Or, yeah, it's like basically a year apart.
That's a big year.
It's a year, yeah.
Yeah, it's a big
But no,
year.
Micah's only like 25.
Yeah, I think Micah will probably, just me assuming Micah will probably Hutch. Probably be the next guys.
Yeah, what about Hutch
40.
coming off the broken leg rap sheet? Does that change anything at all?
I don't think so. Timing-wise, I don't think so. I'm sorry. Timing-wise, yes. Actual, like what it'll end up as, I don't think so. Like the Lions have been very, very proactive in locking up their studs early. Like Penny Sewell got a huge deal really early.
Amon-Ra.
St. Brown.
Amon-Ra, Ali McNeil. Like they lock up their guys really early because they're smart. I mean, this is, it's like, I'm trying to remember what Amon-Ra's deal. I think Amon-Ra's deal was $28 million over the first 3 years average, right? I think that's what
I thought it was 30. I thought he got to the 30.
I think the overall number was 30.
Yeah, I think it was 4 for 120. Overall, it was 30.
That sounds right.
Yeah.
Right. And then 28 over the average over the first 3. And so, like, that's an awesome deal.
Yeah.
But they end up saving the money because all the receiver deals after, like, Brandon Ayuk comes in at 30, and then it's sort of like, well, you'd rather have Amon-Ra than Brandon Ayuk, right?
No doubt.
Like, so that ends up saving the money. So doing that early. So anyway, I would imagine Hutch gets done as soon as they are absolutely 100% sure that he's healthy and ready to roll.
What about Purdy? We've been talking about the Purdy contract for like 2 years now, and now it's kind of time. And they've obviously moved on from a bunch of people. I don't know. Are they still trying to ship people out of the building? I know Ayuk was kind of rumored rather by some people to get traded. Is that still happening, or are we going to get Purdy this year?
It was, well, first the Ayuk thing. That was more than rumored. Like, that was confirmed by John Lynch. That was the craziest thing. Is like usually that kind of stuff, like sign a guy to a contract and, oh, you might trade him. Usually people are like, that's ridiculous. John Lynch was literally like on local radio, was like, well, you certainly have to consider everything. And I'm like, but, is he going to be ready for the season? Is he going to be healthy? I'm not sure. Like, I could see him sitting out the first couple of games. Like, that was a serious injury he had.
Oh, yeah.
So who would trade for someone when you don't know?
Yeah. The Browns.
Well said.
People have said that they might.
We might.
I mean, they actually tried to trade for him last year.
Same with New England.
That's New England being the other team for every free agent and every trade wide receiver was like my favorite sort of side storyline of free agency.
Me too.
It was the Steelers for a while until they got DK,
Was it?
obviously.
Yeah.
Stephon Diggs in the building now.
Oh, yeah.
Sounded like that went well.
He didn't sign, so how well could it have gone?
Well, but he's only like 4 months out from ACL surgery. So like I'm like during free agency is so hectic, right? You go to the combine and it's like you might have some drinks, you stay out late, brain is all
Get in a
scrambled.
fight with a guy in a Starbucks.
I didn't get
Poop
into a
your
fight
pants.
with a guy.
Scream for security.
Yeah. All those things.
All those things.
I was so annoyed when people were like, you got into a fight with something. I'm like, I didn't get into a fight with anyone. I just stood there while somebody else tried to get into a fight with me.
Did you cross your arms, or did you?
No, because
you should have ball tapped him
in a fight. Cup check. No, I was standing there. I carry coffee around all the time at the combine because I'm always so freaking tired. And so I had coffee in one hand. So like, even if there was some sort of something, I probably would have had to like ruin my suit, but not because of what you said, but because I would have spilled
They reported that. I didn't know if
that was legit.
Yeah.
Who reported that?
I think
Sounds like a Florio.
Is that Mike Florio?
Yeah, it might have been Florio. Said that like they had like pictures from like the hotel. You soiled your
Florio
pants and
You're crying into tissues.
Yep,
That was the only thing. Florio had literally the whole thing word for word, like 2
Bar
hours
for
later.
bar.
How many people were in there? It was packed.
50.
Holy shit! And everyone like record scratch.
Yeah.
Stops what they're doing.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
The most ridiculous thing is, I mean, I guess it doesn't necessarily hurt to say this. It's like, so you've seen the picture, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
we
Mike
had it hanging on the
Garafolo
wall.
took the picture and then sent it to literally everyone.
I mean, that's an
like
insider
that.
move.
Could not have sent it. So it's like, how did this picture get out?
I love that move.
I know how this picture got out. Like, Garafolo sent it to everyone he knew. And, which like,
Holy
first of all,
shit, Sheets getting fucking confronted by Jordan Schultz right now.
and like, he's a good friend. you would have thought that he might have been.
Doesn't sound like it, Rapsy.
No, it's like, shouldn't he have jumped in and be like,
He
"Is
should
everyone
have done
right?"
something.
Instead, he was like, "All right, like let's take this picture." And
Nah,
then
we
send it
all
to
would
the
have
whole
done the
internet.
same
That's good reporting.
I mean, he knew that was gonna. He's man. This is gonna just steal all the headlines this week. This is all anyone's gonna be able to be talking about.
Yeah, it was honestly a bad move for him not tweeting it. Who's the third
That's
gentleman
Fowler
here?
right there, right?
Is that Dan
That's Fowler.
Jones?
Yeah.
That's Fowler.
Jeremy?
Yeah.
So Jeremy, did he tuck tail or did he jump in?
He just stood there.
And you were talking to Fowler before Schultz came over and said, "What's up, motherfucker?"
I was talking to an agent, like who you can't see, who's actually
To the left?
picture. There's two agents, one to the left and then one is behind.
Yeah.
But yeah, Fowler. I love Fowler. Like he just stood there. How about someone like, come on.
Yeah, and Schultz has the
He's tweeting
is
about
that
it.
fucking right
Yeah.
eyes on.
He's got the crazy eyes going.
yeah, big time.
Yep.
And you could see me kind of like,
Yeah, leaning left, like, geez, weirdo, get away from me.
Is this the first time some shit like this has happened to you?
In your career?
Yeah.
I mean,
didn't Dellinger confront you after you tried to have sex with his wife?
What? Did not try to have. No, that is no. She changed her name to sex in my phone.
Oh, I forgot. You don't remember? No. I knew it was something.
Something along the
I
line.
knew it was something weird like that.
Guy's wife is watching.
Well,
Tell
he
you Raps
told
in
the
trouble.
story. He told the story on the phone.
His wife is like a very well-respected
All time.
White House reporter, by the way, and I'm sure she's not watching. But if she is, she's
Well, I'm glad we're getting this out of the way then, because that's the rumor you started
my
on the
God.
show.
Clear it up.
I start lots of rumors.
That's your job.
Yeah, it's part of it. It's part of it.
Football.
The people are always like, oh, can you believe was that weird to be like in the center of all that in the combine? I'm like, I'm in the center of nonsense all the time.
Yeah, true.
It feels like
It's free agency week before.
You do love nonsense.
I mean, this is why I'm in it. Like not that is the reason.
Sure,
Like,
sure.
That was the first time that's ever happened. Usually people, if they have like an actual beef, will be like, can we talk about this? Like,
Sure. You mean
let's sit and discuss as like gentlemen.
Yeah.
That was not
It was very gentlemanly.
Do you get sick of it? Like, how long do you think you'll keep going?
Like, can you take a shower?
Yeah, it's so much shit. And like when Woj retired, I feel like it did kind of give some people the perspective of like, oh, this stuff completely takes over insiders' lives. Like Woj, his whole entire thing about his friend's funeral, and he was like, holy fuck, I need to legitimately change my life, and that's why he left.
So he couldn't take a piss anymore.
Yeah,
Couldn't shower.
couldn't poop.
I do all those things.
You shower?
Yeah. I showered this morning.
But are you
I
like
just
anxious doing it
no, I have my phone with me all the time.
in the shower?
In the shower.
Okay.
Every time. And if you got to take a piss, it's a great time because you come out, you check your phone, and you do your
You
thing.
put it one of those like beach lanyards that you put in a plastic Ziploc bag?
No, I just let it ride. But when I was skiing, I had an attachment on, it was tethered to my ski jacket so I could check on the lift.
Sure.
Yeah, that's smart. Okay.
Yeah. No.
Did you have like the homeless guy gloves sliced off at the top so you could still use your fingies if you needed to?
Oh boy.
Sticky bandits.
Caught that.
Yeah, exactly. The Marv merchants, if you will.
They sell
The
great
Marv
stuff.
ones.
Those watching those idiots fall on the traps is still one of my favorite sequences. Like,
Best part of Christmas every year.
I mean, I still my humor is not exactly like highbrow. There we go.
Yeah.
Bang.
Classic.
The Marv ones.
Yep.
Must be very weird for them to be like Joe Pesci is like a legitimately accomplished actor who has had like,
yeah.
and this like, I don't know if it's his most famous role, but it's definitely
not his most.
He's
definitely
like
in the top.
He's
top
like a
three.
goat farmer now. He actually just dead serious.
Is he a goat farmer?
Daniel Stern.
Yeah, the guy on the right.
Yeah, Joe
That's
Pesci.
not Joe
He's talking
Pesci.
about Joe Pesci.
Oh, I was
Daniel
talking about,
Stern is a goat farmer.
Yeah, he
He has like a
I did see him.
massive farm and like does like art inside like this massive warehouse. Yeah, he's kind of
off the grid.
Yeah.
Like Giovanni Carmazzi.
Giovanni Carmazzi's off the grid.
Yeah, he's a goat
Gio the
farmer as well.
podcast?
Huh? No. One of the Brady Six.
Oh.
The quarterback that the Niners drafted that thought Brady was going to be him.
Gino Gaduli?
Word.
No.
Oh, Gio off the grid.
There was a guy. Do you guys know who Jack Johnson is? Singer.
Yeah, of course.
kind of like-
Banana
Banana
pancakes.
pancakes.
Come on,
Yep.
dude.
My wife and I danced to that at our wedding. By the way,
Nice.
That was your song?
that was our couple song.
That was your wedding
Nice.
song.
It's good.
Banana pancake.
Waking up too early.
It's not Jack Johnson. I don't know.
Anyway, I hear he is an avocado farmer now. Has like taken himself completely off the grid and is like a wildly successful California.
Avocados from Mexico?
No, those are from.
From, yeah.
He still lives in Hawaii though, right?
Does he?
I would assume so. He was touring a couple years
His
ago. I saw
vibe
him here.
seems like Hawaii. I don't know. Anyway, that would be. I mean, it's like talk about the Woj thing.
Yeah.
The amount of people who've asked me like, "Oh, are you gonna, retire and become like a GM of college?" I was like, "That's not me." Like
GM of the Columbia crew team.
I would be.
The Lions.
Do we have NIL deals? No, I would be.
Should change the game, bro.
Yeah.
$25 in new oars for your boat. I get it done.
I mean, there's money in crew.
I know that.
You go do crew and then you become like an investment banker or something. That's basically what everybody does.
So it's not in crew; it's in the people in crew. I know what you're saying. So is Purdy going to get paid? What do you think?
Oh yeah, Purdy. I think he's going to get paid. The contract is so hard because it's like, I think what you'd sort of like is like, all right, well he made almost no money the whole time, so like maybe he'll sort of inch his way up. But like all those guys, like he should be in the 50s, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
But I think when people think about him, they talk about him more like he's a 30s or 40s. Not a lot.
They do.
Whoa. You know what I mean?
People do. Oh yeah.
They
do.
talk about him like he's going to get like a Darnold contract or
Right.
a Baker contract.
Except it's like if you didn't know where he got, and I hate this about the draft because he was drafted last.
Oh yeah.
People still think about him like he's the last pick, but it's like who's more accomplished, Justin Herbert or Brock Purdy?
Purdy.
I mean, Purdy's more accomplished than basically everybody up there except for Jalen Hurts and Lamar.
And
Jared Goff.
Burrow's similar, right?
Jared Goff.
I would say Burrow's similar, but I would damn near put
Hurts,
Purdy either at him or above him.
Right. I mean but this is the problem because no one. I mean, I'm
Not
sure
Goff.
you saw this. Like it's like players get. Players get discussed from the draft.
Yeah, that
status,
draft position sticks with you. That's partly why we saw Stingley just reset the market the way he did because he was a number 3 overall pick. He lived up to most of the guys that kind of break that barrier and reset markets. Usually those are top tier first round type picks, and that just sticks with you throughout. Myles Garrett, obviously he's been great first overall pick. You're gonna expect that from him. That's why Hutch be the next guy. Michael Parsons, same thing. But I think Brock Purdy will definitely jump into that 50 year. I don't think anybody in the next couple years would jump that 60 million mark. Once Josh Allen kind of redid his deal and stayed at 55, I think that's kind of going to hold it back.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Hold him back. You mean that's like
no, the next guy. I mean, the salary cap, it jumps up so much next year, so I'm sure there will be a guy soon. But I think that surprised me that Josh Allen took that 55 a year. Obviously, the guarantees are huge, but that gap right now where Dak is at, I don't think anybody jumps that just like Myles Garrett, just like Stingley with that big $5 million a year gap. I think that'll remain at least for another year.
How about Lamar?
I think he goes
Yeah,
back.
He's got a big number coming up, big cap number coming up.
What about Patrick?
What about Mahomes? Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Mahomes is tougher because he took the long deal, obviously to help during
the 10 year whatever
to help them build. But I do wonder if at some point, like with trying to figure out where the Josh Allen deal comes in is tough because basically what they did is something no teams ever do. They ripped up the deal. They just said, we're going to give you a new deal and it's 55, right? Instead of like, we're going to tack on 2 years and in many years you're going to be at 60, took a new real deal that like, that
with 3 years left, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
With, I think it was 4 years.
Okay,
left,
4 years left.
And so like, would Mahomes do that knowing it might hurt the Chiefs as far as like player acquisition? Like, I don't know that he would. I think he's more along the Brady plan of like, you guys can say I'm undervalued, but I'm going to keep competing for Super Bowls.
Yeah.
You know?
Okay. Don't you think he's good enough though? Where like even the guys they bring in, and like they bring in some of these older veterans who aren't going to be making a bunch of money anyway. It's like it's not like D-Hop was going to be getting a ton of money from them. Like he could be like, you know what, I've done this enough. Like I'm already the best quarterback in the NFL, arguably one of the best maybe the best quarterback ever. Like it's time I'm the highest paid guy in the NFL, and I'll make the guys we bring in better anyway.
God, I think about this all the time. I mean, like if you're Mahomes, like do you get annoyed? And I think Brady, I mean, you knew him better than I did, but like I don't think he cared really about what people said about it. I mean, he took below market deals for years.
Oh, yeah.
Did he? I mean, it didn't seem like he cared, right?
Yeah, he didn't seem like, but for Mahomes not to be on this, like as long as this,
it's crazy.
That's asinine. And obviously Brady and all these big time franchise, they got so much shit going on off the field for him, endorsement wise and things like that they're going to be good. And part of the people that represent, Mahomes and all those things. But for him not to be on this deal, and this obviously list will only get longer, is crazy at this point.
You guys were talking about. I didn't even think about it. He's literally not on there.
Yeah.
No.
I don't even think he's close.
He's like 40 something, or obviously.
I mean, his deal was kind of funky last year, but
42.
So maybe he doesn't care, but like also that's bullshit. I can't imagine if he sees this and he's just like, whatever. I've won a couple Super Bowls. It's like,
no, I mean, like we were talking about with the edge rushers. It's like sum of money is what you are not worth money wise, but like you're ranking. So to your point, like I kind of wonder. I don't know, like. We know he's the best. Where's he at? What's the so 40? Yeah, I mean that was the original deal, and then where's the cash? Can you hit the cash button? There we go.
So yeah, 40.
So 50. So 50 this year. Yeah, so 45.5 last year or whatever. So 50 this year, but like would be a good time. I mean, he's got a cap number that's large. This would be a good time for it. I just don't know, like, is he going to demand it?
Do you think he just doesn't give a fuck?
Or he's happy?
Yeah.
Maybe he wants people to be like, this is the least selfish guy. Sure. Because, like, he's made money.
he's making a lot of money outside of the NFL as well.
That was a couple of teams.
I would say with that
part ownership,
Royals and
the
soccer team.
Yeah. That's my whole thing though, because I know he's into that stuff, and more money definitely helps.
Bringing in too much.
Like if he wants to be in ownership groups for teams, more money would definitely help with that.
I mean, and like Brady, Brady obviously gets some criticism or whatever you'd call it for being part owner of the Raiders, and obviously he's with Fox, and it's sort of like, like Florio rips him all the time for better or worse. I wonder if that's going to be sort of the new currency to be like when you're Mahomes and you see Brady doing it, and God forbid he wins in Vegas, like is Mahomes going to be like, what's my team? Because everyone talked about Peyton Manning doing this.
Yeah.
Never did it.
With Denver?
Yeah. Or like, I think we thought with the Saints maybe. No, it was Tennessee. That's right. Where we kind of thought he would buy it and he didn't. Like, I wonder if Mahomes is like, this is me. Like, this is my next kind of frontier. But you're right. You need money for that.
Mm-hmm.
So
a lot of it.
We'll see. It's the NFL, baby.
Mm-hmm. I don't know.
A lot of money.
I would say like to Brady, and I was thinking about this because I was in, where I was skiing, there was a lot of Brady talk. And actually, talking about the Jordan Schultz thing, I did talk to a source, really close source, who witnessed the Brady-Rodgers meeting on the slopes. Literally witnessed it. And I was told, according to a source, they skied into each other, not like into each other, but chatted, skied together, and then that was it. Good source.
Did they race?
They probably
had to have raced.
Yeah, they raced.
They didn't talk about it, but they just did it.
I mean, I assume Brady is pretty good skier, right?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, he's not that great of a golfer. You'd think he'd be better.
He's pretty good at golf.
Not bad.
He's all right.
Hit that hole in one.
Remember?
From the middle of the fairway. All right.
Was this the drone shot?
Yeah.
Yeah. Remember?
That was real.
So, I don't know. Is he a good golfer? I think he's
he's probably better than me. I assume. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, but anyway, like I wonder, the Brady angst over his Vegas stint. Like I kind of wonder if he makes them good, if he helps them be good. Like I think this is going to be probably the biggest story in football. Is like led them back, helped hire Pete Carroll, got Geno, who we'll see what he is, but like I don't know. Like I mean, I don't know how bullish you guys are on Brady and the Brady ownership and Brady steering of this team, but I think it's going to be pretty freaking interesting going forward.
Yeah, definitely high on it, but, Denver, Chargers, Chiefs.
Yeah, tough division.
Like, do we think any of those teams are getting worse? I think Brady is a great story. I think it is cool, and I don't think it really matters what he does in Vegas because he's already, the greatest of all time. But it's like, are any of those three teams doing worse?
But ownership is, in 10 years, he could turn around. It doesn't have to be.
Yeah, friggin' 30 years.
If he brings the Raiders to national contention, or they're contending for titles and shit, in the next however many years, or there year after year, like that'll be as impressive as what he's done as a football player.
Yeah.
With what what the Raiders have been for the last couple decades,
25 years.
Yeah, at least since just win, baby. I feel like Al Davis days. If he brings them back to promise, because Raiders, that is an iconic brand, in the NFL. But if he does that from the ownership level, gets a team in there that can contend, as decades. You talk about how tough that division is. In the same division as Patrick Mahomes, who is, in most opinion, the second greatest quarterback right now. That'll be wow. That'll be crazy.
Yeah, put some respect on Rich Gannon's name. I think
well said.
2001, foremost. But
2001.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, Super Bowl. Yeah.
How do you think they do that? Like, do you think Geno, like right now?
Oh,
looking at the team,
I think it'll be better. Better. Be competitive. They still got great pieces there.
You think Aiden O'Connell's better than Geno Smith?
No, I do not. Absolutely not.
But it'll be the next iteration because Pete Carroll's only going to be around for probably like 4 more years tops. Like he's not coaching into his 80s.
I was thinking 3 would be like, and that's why
72?
I think it was.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, or 73, something like that.
Turning 73, I think.
And that's why it was so interesting. And like, it's funny. Like, culture is like so insanely important. And I don't know how good they're going to be this year. My guess is better because certainly we're not going to be worse.
It's an easy guess, yeah.
I mean, that's not exactly going on.
Fucking sunk, yeah.
But like, right. But like, getting someone to teach everyone the culture and understand how to like be a professional is so much of it. Like, the stories you would hear out of the Raiders building the last couple of years, not exactly a bastion of professionalism. Like, not great. And like, even people who did a really good job there, like Dave Ziegler was the GM. I would argue he drafted well. Telesco drafted really well his one draft. But like, there was so much other clutter, noise, nonsense dealing with all the time that like.
Well, now they also have the whiz kid at GM too, so
I think that'll be good too.
Jimbo Gladstone was with the Jaguars.
Before Jimbo Gladstone got hired,
Who the hell is
the whiz kid,
Spytek.
John Spytek.
Yeah, one of the Bucks disciples.
Yeah, Tom met him down in Tampa and said, "Well, this guy's the whiz kid."
So, like, what would you say is bringing them back success?
You're saying this year or the next 5-10 years?
Yeah,
competing
like
for
playoffs
the
every
AFC
year,
West.
and then
like a consistent thing, not like a conference.
Yeah, consistent.
Title.
Yeah, consistent. And he's ownership, so he's going to be there. I would assume for a while. And if he's coming in day one, and Mark Davis is kind of giving him, it seems like from what we've heard that you're kind of running the show.
Oh, yeah.
That's what it
And for the next 5, 10, 15, once again, Pete Carroll era will be short. We all assume. Geno, we don't know how long he'll be there, but if you get a coach, GM, quarterback, and you have the Raiders are in the conversation year in and year out, and then actually competing, AFC titles, division wins,
finishing
that'll
4th every year.
Yeah, that'll be. And Brock, they got some pieces. Max is still there. Brock Bowers is still there.
I kind of wondered if Max would kind of be like.
Well, I wonder if that's part of the reason why they get someone like Pete, like a serious head coach who can kind of stabilize things and get them going in the right direction.
Yeah.
Because like one more year of them being really bad, he might have been like, "Fuck this place. I want to go win somewhere."
Going into the. It's funny. Like, I always look back at our like Super Bowl storylines. Like, what we talked about Super Bowl Sunday, and it was like, is Max Crosby going to stay, or is he going to ask to be traded? Is Micah going to stay, or is he going to? And like, it seems like everyone probably stays. I mean, we got some good clicks out of it, but it seems like everyone stays. But like, that was really a question. It's like, is he going to believe in this place enough to where like I'll actually stick around? And the other thing is we all thought that Geno was going to get an extension in Seattle, and this was like the arc of this was so crazy because like free agency week, it's like I knew they were having negotiations with Geno. I knew they weren't getting anywhere. I knew it was like sounded like it was like a full communication breakdown in Seattle with Geno, and then all of a sudden you start to hear confidence from like the Sam Darnold world of like, okay, wait a minute, like something is going on, and like that's how we ended up figuring out that he was going to be traded because it was like, hold on, like I remember we heard of a secret conversation with Raiders in Seattle during the Combine where they talked about a Geno trade that involves Metcalf and Max, I think if I remember this correctly.
Yeah.
Everyone kind of laughed about it, but they didn't stop talking. It was just kind of like, whoa, that's crazy. And I was like, all right, if there's secret conversations there, if they're ready to move on from Geno because they didn't get a contract extension, like what the heck is going on? And then trading him, and Darnold was like, once that happens, like that's obviously where Darnold's going.
Yeah.
So did other teams make offers to Darnold, or was that the best offer?
I think that was the only offer. Okay. I think it was because it wasn't like Geno was on the block. It was like this team has engaged, and then I think they were sort of like, all right, we know each other. Obviously, Pete and John know each other.
No, I mean for
well.
Darnold. Was that the only offer Darnold got?
It wasn't the only offer, but it was the only offer close to there. Well, I don't know that there were other formal offers. Gotcha. I would say, but like it did seem like unless it was, that's not true. Vikings had an offer.
They offered him.
Vikings had an offer,
but it wasn't that close.
No, their offer, the Vikings offer, I believe, was more in the 20s.
How many years?
Damn.
I think it was 1.
Oh, so they wanted to give him just like a tag, but half a tag?
I think that's what it was.
Yeah.
So, like, they were actually, I know the Vikings were, like, considering tagging him, Darnold. And then it's like, tag him to trade him. And then they didn't end up doing it because there wouldn't have been a market.
Yeah.
They're ready to go to JJ.
Yeah.
But if you offer that, you don't tag like it. They're ready to go to JJ. But what about Geno? Now that he's traded, where are the conversations with Vegas in the new deal?
Doesn't sound like they've really kind of got off the thing. Like, I don't, I mean, I'm sure they've
Good
had.
start. No.
I mean, I was actually surprised. Like, I would have thought a deal would have come with the trade.
Yeah,
because that's
does.
If you're, that'd be a way to do it. But I mean, maybe they don't. Maybe there's. I mean, I don't know that they'll make them play it out, but that gets interesting if that happens. Because then it's like, then they're in the same situation the Vikings were in with Darnold, where it's like, do we tag him? Mm-hmm. Do we keep going? Like, do we move on? Like, I don't know.
Maybe they wait, see how the draft plays out.
Yeah, well, that's what I was going to say. Because obviously Brady in New England, if Hunter and Carter are gone and Shadur's there at 4, could you see Brady in New England trade and they go back to 6 and then take whoever the fuck is there and the
Raiders trade up?
Yeah, Raiders go to 4, New England goes to 6.
I don't think. I hate doing this with the draft because like everyone lies.
It's all just fucking fodder, yeah.
But I don't believe that the Raiders consider any quarterback to be that high.
Okay.
So I don't think they would come up. Now maybe if Cam Ward suddenly was there, but that's what's like so interesting, and I think Daniel Jeremiah did a really good job of explaining it. Is like the prospects are good, the middle of the draft is good, but like it feels to me now that Shador and then a little bit later. Like maybe a couple other quarterbacks, maybe, but like Jackson Dart sort of be in the 20s, maybe, but it doesn't seem like there's that many high ends. So it's like he's right. Like if Shador doesn't go 3, that's the biggest story of the draft.
Mm-hmm. And we know
Ginty goes 4.
We assume Jacksonville's not taking the quarterback too with Lawrence.
No.
And Brady, I mean, he knows Shador.
Can we see the
very
draft
well.
order again?
Well, and like the whole Shador Geno thing and the fact that they haven't given him a deal.
Yeah, makes sense.
There's a chance if he doesn't go 3 that, or Saints at 9, like 20.
Saints at 9 I've thought about.
I mean, I'd say Jets at 7, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We're talking about anybody that needs a quarterback especially with players like Garrett Wilson who are one of those, hey, I'm not going to sit around on a fucking shitty team. Go get Shador, that might help.
I mean, Fields didn't get bad money there. He didn't get started.
He got
20, was it 20 million or something?
Yeah. I mean, he got good money. That's the most money he's made.
Guaranteed.
But you're right. It's not like all right, we're set at quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
Like now, I happen to be a big Fields fan, so I think he's going to play well. I mean,
him and Breece Hall
and Garrett Wilson.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I mean, that's but I mean, there's a lot of teams that like sort of could use one. Like the Saints are an interesting one to me. They're doing all the quarterback homework. I could see them. I know he mentioned the Browns being a team that could come back. I could see the Saints coming back into the first round, trying to take one
late.
Mm-hmm. Because like that'll be. Like Jackson Dart will be sitting there. Quinn Ewers, who's got his pro day tomorrow, like, might he be a late one? Maybe someone could come up. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, because there's 6 teams in the top 10 that need quarterbacks. The first 3 and then Raiders, Jets, Saints.
Yeah. Which, like, it's funny. Like, from my standpoint, like, all I want is just draft chaos, right?
Of course.
Like, absolute. Like, that's why like we're talking about the Will Anderson trade. It's like, that was freaking chaos.
Mm-hmm.
Like, count me in for that. But if we see, like, if Shador slides, biggest story of the draft right there. Like, no doubt about it. And then it's like, because the crazy thing for him, and you guys will have to let me know what you think of this, but this is what I think about. If Shador Sanders goes to a team without a fully solid coach, with a coach who might be on the hot seat, he goes there. Mm-hmm. Is anyone like, how many times are we going to mention, could Deion be the coach of this team next year?
A lot.
Right?
Yeah.
Yep.
No doubt.
I mean, that
was a big conversation storyline with Dallas, and he was, in my opinion, he was obviously never going to Dallas with Dak's contract, but that was still a big conversation. Hey, Dallas, you replace Mike McCarthy, Deion, Shador. So yeah, that is definitely. You always talk certain prospects And then certain players even, once it's just other shit that comes with them, good, bad, or indifferent. Aaron Rodgers, it's going to be a lot of shit that comes with Aaron Rodgers. Tim Tebow, towards the end of his career, you signed him to be a tight end, a backup quarterback. It's going to be a lot of Cam Newton. It's going to be a lot of shit that comes with certain people. I think it's going to be the same with Shedeur. So, yeah, that's a fair point. And obviously owners and people are tuned to what's going on with Sarr's story. They probably love it, though.
Yeah, and that was like the let Dak walk thing because his contract wasn't really locked in. It was like, hey, this guy could be a free agent, and then they just trade up and draft Shedeur and hire Deion. But if you had to bet right now,
which obviously I don't.
Which you can't, would you say Shedeur's going in? Because Cam Ward's going one. It feels like that's
feels like.
Yeah.
Whether it's Titans or not.
Yeah.
And I think the Titans are still in evaluation mode on whether they're going to trade or pick.
Yeah, if it's not Titans, who is it?
Giants probably. Would be my guess.
Is Bill Levis on the market then?
He's not on the market, but I would say he's definitely someone I'm watching. Like, I think there's a couple backup quarterbacks, which, look, he was benched last year, so I think it's fair to characterize him as. I think there's a couple guys that I'm sort of monitoring to be like, all right, like you mentioned Aiden O'Connell, didn't come in with Pete. Teams need a back. Like, could he be on the move? Like, I think there's
Carson
a couple.
Wentz.
Malik Willis.
Although Malik Willis played well last year.
That's what I'm saying.
Oh, you wonder if someone
second round pick, first round pick, for a guy like that who came in, did not lose a game.
First round pick, maybe 2 first round.
There's certainly a chance. There's certainly a world in which that happens.
I mean, Joe Milton. Joe Milton's going for a first.
I mean, Joe Milton is very, very interesting. Would you follow them as closely as anyone I know?
Yeah.
What would you think of a Milton trade? Are you
I'm good. Go ahead.
You go ahead.
Yeah.
Tell me why.
Personally,
give me your argument.
My perfect draft for the Patriots. Well, they already brought in Dobbs, so why carry 3 quarterbacks?
Okay.
But my perfect draft for the Patriots is they take a Hunter or Ginty or Tyler Warren or something at 4, and then trade back in to the first round towards the end and take one of those, the Oregon tackle or one of those type of tackles that they really love. And that you really wouldn't have to give up that 38 pick because, you trade Joe Milton for a third. Would you say, 2/3 get you back into the back half of the
I think that's probably right.
You know what I mean? So, then you still have a pick in every single round. You're giving up Joe Milton, and you're giving up, let's just say, 69 because it's the higher pick.
Oh, that's why you picked 69?
No, I picked 69 just because, I don't think 77 in Joe Milton gets you there, but maybe, saying that top 70 pick does. And so then all of a sudden you're getting 2 first-round guys, and at 38, everyone's talking about Abdul Carter. At 38, then you're getting one of those top pass rushers. So you're legitimately getting a top tier player right at the top with a Hunter or a Ginty or someone there to help Drake May. You're getting a tackle in the back half of that, first round, whoever that is. Yeah. And then you're also getting a pass rusher, which, I would put third in the list of things that the Patriots need just because Harold Landry, Milton Williams, Keon White, Christian Barmore.
That's a good draft they got right there.
That would be – is that for the Patriots?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, so
a lot of people say Donovan Jackson saved Ohio State's season because of all the O-line injuries, and he basically was the rock on that.
It's on an island, yeah. So and like Travis Hunter, all cases is definitely who I would want the Patriots to get, and he's wide receiver 1, and then he comes in, in the red zone to play corner, and then we just lock it down.
It's so I don't know. I felt surprised to hear Daniel Jeremiah say that. Like I say that he would be a
turn the card in.
So I've listened to DJ on and Move the Sticks a ton, him and Bucky, and then also Field and Kuiper. They all say that if Travis Hunter was just a wide receiver, he would be the number 1 wide receiver in this draft class by far.
Crazy.
It would be a top 10 wide receiver by far. Yeah. If he was just wide receiver.
So that's why I would want him. And we don't need him at corner. You got Gonzalez and Carlton Davis.
I know, but if he is a lockdown corner, him and Gonzalez playing it in the
that's why I think the red zone, you bring him in, and then it's just like, okay, you have to throw it. You leave Gonzo on an island. Hear me out here.
Okay.
You leave Gonzo on an island. You double whoever Carlton Davis is on, and then you leave Hunter on an island, and you send 8, and you make him throw it at.
Good
Travis
game
Hunter.
plan.
Engage 8.
Engage 8. And throw it at Travis Hunter. Let's see if we can get a couple red zone picks. That is legitimately what I would do. But also, if Hunter and Abdul Carter are gone, I think Ginty would be awesome. Yeah, because look what just happened. The last 2 Super Bowls. God, running the ball.
Favre loves a running back.
He loves a good running back. Ramondre Stevenson and him. That kind of has shades of David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs, wouldn't you say? I would. I would. Tell you that much. Yeah. Think about it, Rap.
The fact that a running back could be taken so early and no one's laughing is amazing. It has come all the way.
It's flipped. Yeah.
DJ thinks there's a chance that him or Genty and Omarion Hampton both go in the top 10. 6 or Genty 6. He has Genty.
Hampton special too.
And then Hampton at 10 to the Bears potentially.
That's interesting.
He ain't Genty.
God, Bears.
I don't know, Connor.
If he was, they would have been better.
Bears. I mean, Bears are another team. I was actually thinking when you guys were talking about, and we were all talking about Geno. People ask me who's the team that could? I mean, I feel like
it's always the Bears.
Yeah, Seahawks would be one that I was thinking of. Bears, again, with the Ben Johnson addition and I feel like they could be pretty good.
Yeah,
but you're right.
We say that every year with the Bears.
Has it been every year?
It's our year, though. It's our year.
Pretty much.
It's been them.
Are you sure?
It's been them for a lot of years.
Yeah, I'm a Packers fan, so yeah, I'm pretty sure that every offseason say, shoot, the Bears in free agency? Bears might win fucking 10 games this year.
There were years when the Panthers.
Look, those top 4 teams, I feel like there's just one clear team that has the best chance next year.
Titans?
I think we know which team I'm talking about.
Commanders?
They're not in the top 4.
Oh.
That is clearly New England, my friend.
Okay.
So you think? I mean, there is one every year who jumps out and has
it's happened the last 2 years.
I say Commanders. I was thinking of the Commanders as that team.
Yeah, and the year before was the Texans. Yeah, they had the 2 pick. I'm just saying. I
mean, the Bears are going to be much better than 5 and 12. That's for sure.
Probably.
Who knows though? Jimbo Gladstone and Liam Cohen.
Yeah, they might fuck around and
flip that thing around.
Yeah, quarterback.
I mean, Houston's got half an O-line now.
Yeah.
I like that Gladstone. I have no idea how good he's going to be. I mean, it seems like he has.
McVay loves him.
McVay does love him.
Said he was a dog.
He has, but he is a little bit like McVay got hired too early by the Rams.
Mm-hmm.
But they were like, he's special and we don't care. We'll work with it because.
What do you mean too early?
Well, so
30 years old.
I mean, but shit.
No, but when the Rams are interviewing him, everyone said the same thing. They're like, he's not ready. It's too young, but we have to hire him because we might lose him. Mm-hmm. And I'm sort of like, why would you hire a 29? But it turned out to be one of the
Les
best.
Snead said that when we had him on the show last week. He was like, in retrospect, we probably should have hired him earlier. So we probably should have hired him when he was 28.
God, Les does so many things that seem at the time to make zero sense and then just crushes it.
Mm-hmm. Mad scientist.
After
Who's done?
He's probably got to take a piss.
Yeah.
Oh. We have been standing here for a very long time.
Or poop.
Or poop.
He could have to poop. I think he had steak and eggs this morning. That's kind of a recipe for a
little fettuccine Alfredo right after.
Yeah, exactly. That's kind of a big dump recipe.
That's going to happen.
We got 6 minutes left. I don't know if he's going to come back. Do we have to say goodbye to him if he doesn't come back?
Nah, I don't think so.
You're running the show.
Yeah, whatever you're ready. You're steering this boat.
You should call me
What'd you call him?
Oh, no.
God damn it.
God
Went through the whole show.
We were so close. We were so close.
What the fuck, man?
Wow.
That hurts.
Fucking
you did it to me on air
Boat
in
man.
somewhere. Where were we?
Austin guy, too.
We're at the league meetings last year.
Yeah. I remember it. It hurt my soul.
I'm sorry, Rap Sheet. You know how I feel about you.
I appreciate that.
I fucked up.
Yeah. Listen.
I fucked up.
You got to own it.
Hand up. No excuses. I fucked up.
It's all right. When I was covering in the locker room, you always appreciated those guys who give up a big play and stand up and go, that's on me.
Mm-hmm.
So.
That's on me. Mm-hmm. That's what I do. I've never shied away from that. Mm-hmm. I cheated on my math project when I was in high school. Teacher called me out.
Did you really?
Oh, yeah.
You cheated on it?
Copied the whole thing.
Stop. No, you did not.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Did you get caught?
Yeah.
What?
I got caught. Mr. Pond.
How'd you get caught? How'd you get caught?
It was bar for bar, my friend. It was the exact same thing as someone else in my class. And Mr. Pond called me in and I said, I fucked up. I copied the whole thing. And I got a 0.
You got a 0?
I got a 0, yeah.
He didn't even give you the answers right that you had on your own. It was all just.
Oh, I didn't do one thing. I basically changed the names on it and then I submitted it. And then I just kind of ate that bullet.
Hand up, I fucked up. Okay.
That's what I said. Mr. Pine was like, honestly, respect, because I did this with 3 other people that cheated, and they all denied it, and you're the only one that said I fucked up.
That is amazing.
That being said, you're going to get a 0 in detention for a month.
Got a 0. I already notified your parents, and you're going to have to ace the final to pass this class. I said, all right, Mr. Pine, that's business, baby.
Notified the parents. God.
Yeah, that was tough. That was tough, going home. Didn't get ice cream that night. Tell you that much. But, I mean, that's the risk you take when you cheat. Mm-hmm. Don't cheat, kids.
That's the lesson here.
Don't
or
cheat.
don't get caught.
Yeah, I would say that'd be the other.
Well, that was the only time I got caught. You don't want to hear about my Latin class.
No, certainly don't.
No. Wonderful lady taught that one. This is, all stupid conversation, though.
I mean, I would say that's probably.
I apologize for calling you that.
Thank you. No, I don't think we'll ever. I can't come back from that. I think we've done a great job of today of carrying this through.
You too. Great work. You're 2 for 2 on the sheet. Great work.
I appreciate it. It's always fun to hang out with you guys. It's the best part of my day.
Yeah, it is a good time.
All right. That's all we got.
Yep. What do we need to keep an eye out for?
Hold on. I'm listening in my ear. All right. Keep an eye out for? I'm glad you mentioned it. Pat McAfee is going to be on Raw, 4 o'clock on Netflix.
Hell yeah.
Okay.
I will be watching.
Yep.
Obviously, like I always do. I'm a huge wrestling fan, as you guys know. I think the Twin Towers are going to be on tonight.
Sure.
Who, I don't know. That's my only wrestling
reference. Who the fuck is that?
That was old wrestling tag team.
Don't look at me. I'm pretty new to it.
Hulk Hogan, I think, is no. Anyway, here's where you asked where we're watching for. Before we go, real quick, where the heck is Aaron Rodgers going to sign?
Sure.
Where does Russell Wilson go after that?
Nowhere.
Which direction?
Okay.
That's the big boss, man.
No, they were the.
Is that Amir Khan?
Oh man, that kind of does look like him a bit.
Is that Z?
The boss man's outfit was just.
Top
I
notch.
cannot comment on that.
Oh my god! It actually
I've
is.
never seen that guy
Oh my
in the same room
god!
as me.
Akeem, that's Akeem, right?
See, bowed.
I mean, the ultimate in racial appropriation there, or ethical appropriation. Anyway,
Sure.
What do the Titans do at 1?
Okay.
These are my storylines for the next month. What do the Titans do at 1? Do they decide to pick? If not, do the Giants come up? And then where the heck is everyone going to get drafted? Plenty to carry us through over the next month. Thank you guys for joining us. You guys rock. You make me feel at home, and I love hanging out with you. Join us tomorrow when the actual host, Pat McAfee, will hopefully be here, assuming his JetBlue flight makes it on time.
Sure.
Thank you very much for joining us. Take care.